Put kids to bed, dad's home. We are the DWO podcast representing the dad world order. I am the handsome head of household, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. With me as always, my dad team partner, big guy, big rig, Eric Murphy.
How goes it, everybody?
It goes.
It goes indeed. And back with us for now the second time.
What a weird choice by you guys.
Hey, you guys were one of our very first interviews, and since then we have been wanting to get you back on here for like ever, and I'm so glad we're back on here. The Rad Dad, Radley Belmont, Papa Bear, Wade Kruger, the Stepdads, ladies and gentlemen.
Now we're going to be your last interview, just like we kill every Fed we wrestle in.
Oh, stop. That has been a problem recently, though.
Oh, stop, but also that's true.
Oh, yeah, hilarious joke, also real. Hello.
Say hi.
Walk to the Stepdads, I'm telling you. But, yeah, we had a debut in New Jersey. That was their last show ever. 2 weeks later, at the end of our match, we announced that we were wrestling another company because they were continuing the feud to the third anniversary show in New York, and that was their last show ever.
Oh my!
Jeez.
So we just keep getting the bookings, and they keep dropping like flies.
Now, do you guys win the tag belts at each of these shows, and then they fold?
We have tag belts for a company that just said they weren't going to have another show till October.
Just a couple weeks after you guys did an interview with us, we won the Lock Target Wrestling Tag Team titles. Might look a little familiar to AEW fans. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have not defended these yet. And they're not having a show until we'll be like 11 months into our reign.
I was going to say, just imagine what you can say. I mean, you could be like, guys, we've been champions for going on 300 days. Like
the best, we were champs over COVID in a place, and we were like, we're still champs there. And
we still can't shoot them.
These belts are from Connecticut. We will be 602 days when we defend them on the 22nd.
Yes.
Suck it, Roman.
I don't know if we're gonna catch Roman.
Oh well.
He'd have to lose first of all.
Don't get me.
To know that he lost.
Don't get me started,
Eric. You forgot the most important thing.
Hey, yeah, I did. I did forget the most important thing. The first question I meant to ask you guys, how the heck are you?
You know, pretty good.
Both of you. Good?
I like when
We're
you get
good?
down to brass tacks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you know.
The real important question. I forgot that was the question, because when it was like, we have one question for you, I was in my head, the first thing that played in my head was, do you have it? Guts. Which I know was not the question, but like I was hoping it was going to be.
I know what the real question is, and that is, have we made up any new nicknames since the last podcast? The answer is yes.
Yes.
No, the answer is not. First of all, that would imply that we come up with the nicknames. It's all this guy. I have actual hobbies.
He's active. He's.
I know. I can't keep up.
I love it.
I just want to say,
Mike's definitely the creative mind when it comes to the dad jokes for us, so I get it. We are aptly aligned here.
Oh, I'll come up with them once in a while, but I'll work on them. I gotta work on them in the lab for like a while to get them perfect, so I'm happy with them.
No,
so quality over quantity.
Yeah. Like you guys, we make a good team. You know, where it's sometimes I'm lacking a word or a graphic or something, and I'm like, what do I need here? And he always seems to have the right thing. So, just
you always finish each other's
sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
Sandwiches. Peanut butter and ladies.
Oh man, what was do you remember when they did like in NXT? It was like Daniel Bryan was a coach for EC. It was EC3's like OG character, and they did like a thing where they had to like guess what the other guy wrote on the card.
Yes.
It was like, what does Daniel think you can work on? America. and it's like and he had America on the card, and like
Yeah.
it was so stupid, and I loved it so much.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Speaking of stupid things, I asked Rad Dad this before you got on. Have you ever watched I Think You Should Leave?
Oh, absolutely, I've watched.
Yes!
I told you he did. I told you.
Well, have you guys watched similarly silly sketch comedy show Auntie Donna's Big Ol' House of Fun?
No.
It's on Netflix.
I need to.
They're an
Okay.
Australian comedy group. They're fantastic. Go watch them.
I will check that out.
Similar weirdness to Tim Robinson.
Dude, Tim Robinson, that guy. I popped. So, Mike, I don't know if I told you that Brody King's in an episode of that.
Oh
Yes.
no, you didn't tell me that.
It's
did, but I just
the whole thing is about a pair of pants that look like they have like pee droplets on them.
Yep.
And it's a fake website to like protect yourself when somebody's like, "Oh, look, you peed on yourself." You can pull up the website and be like, "No, look, these pants. I bought these. It's the pattern on the pants." And it's just a whole thing, but like Brody King does like an ad for him. You gotta give, and it's so good. Anyway,
the fact that show has been showing up like on my TikTok recently with usually it's either him doing the "You sure about that?
You sure about that? You sure about that?"
Yeah, usually in reference to like all sorts of nonsense. And then there's the other like I can't remember the other one, but yeah, great show. Highly recommend.
The one with Bob Odenkirk with the triples makes it safe is one of my all-time.
The things I've regularly quoted from that would be either you're not part of the Turbo Team, or
You're not part.
or
That ever happened to you?
but the whole Instagram sketch with Vanessa Bayer where she's just like hanging out with these sloppy pig turds. Yeah, but anyway, no one knows.
You have to be self-deprecating. Oh my God! Why would you say that? That's what you guys told me to do. Yeah, that.
No.
Mike, I'm gonna have to show you some clips from that because it's
If
so
someone
good.
from if anything is made by someone who used to be on SNL, I will probably watch it. That's like,
Yeah, for sure.
I still watch SNL.
Me too. This year has been terrible, but and I'm not saying that as a person who's like, oh, the best was when Will Ferrell. I liked like the last few years, but like everyone left and they're clearly in a transition period. So.
Yeah. I like the opening this past week. They did the Last Supper sketch, and all of a sudden Trump comes in. Sound familiar? No. That guy's Trump's pretty good. At least his voice is spot on.
His Trump is really good.
I can stand that a lot better. I didn't care. The Alec Baldwin thing just got on my nerves.
It was too much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No!
I
Or not.
digress.
Or not.
I'm also not a fan of Alec Baldwin's.
Other.
Just general. So Wade, I never got the chance to ask you. I know Rad popped for it. Did you see the reel on Instagram that I sent? I believe DDP posted it of him just giving a stiff AF diamond cutter to Disco Inferno.
Oh, yes, I did. Totally appreciated it. It's what Disco deserves.
I saw it and I was just like, I gotta send this to him, and I immediately sent it. I was like, please show this to Wade.
Yep. Every day I wake up with the hopes that I'll be able to quote tweet Disco Inferno's obituary with the caption of "Disco is dead."
My God, Disco is dead. Again.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's that kind of podcast, folks.
Fingers crossed, one day he's gonna outlive us all.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's like Keith Richards. He's the Keith Richards of wrestling.
Yeah, like how's he still involved? Like
After the apocalypse, it's going to be
No.
cockroaches.
Ric
Richards,
Flair is
and
the Keith
Disco
Richards
Inferno.
of wrestling.
Oh,
Is-
yeah, true that.
Is
True
he
that.
still doing stuff with that? Who's the British wrestling podcaster guy that everybody hates?
Well,
No, it's like Billy something or other.
That's a weird
I
one.
can't remember his name.
No clue.
But
I couldn't be less.
he
of a-
was on the Conan's podcast for a while with Disco Inferno.
Definitely listen to that.
Huh?
Conan.
Definitely good one.
The British.
Well,
the
it
British
was-
guy, Conan, right? Yeah.
No, not Conan. It was a different one. But anyway,
Max Moon.
we don't have to talk about them.
Good dog.
So I guess what do you guys got on the books?
Nothing.
Nothing. Come on.
We
We
see
got,
this.
we got a bunch of cool stuff. We just wrestled the Even Stevens for Tough and Talented Wrestling.
Yes.
Saw
Even Stevens
that.
are going to be on Ring of Honor TV this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
we've seen them. I don't know why we're not on Ring of Honor TV this week. That
Yeah,
happened
what the
like
heck?
2 weeks ago, guys,
Another shirt.
or whatever.
Thank you.
And we'll be
Your
coming
time
back
will
next 2 weeks from now, on the 22nd. We'll be wrestling a team called Hustle and Muscle.
Yeah, we've
Dave
wrestled them a
Britt
few times. It
and
should be a
Samoa.
good matchup.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna hit him with a our finishing. We're calling it now. Our finishing move in that match is gonna be we're gonna do one of those like big sideways handshakes, drop the elbow moves.
Yes.
I know that's
I was hoping we'd do a Rock and Roll Express double drop kick.
oh, we might do that too. I'd have to do a drop kick for that, but you know, maybe you could just do both of them.
Yeah, just give it a shot. We'll edit you like turn and
Yeah.
all that.
Do like the Mega Powers handshake into an elbow drop?
Oh,
That's
Maybe
a
we
great
will.
idea.
just
Now
really
you're
draw it
coming
out.
up.
I'll be right back.
And then
Excuse me, fellas.
And then we'll miss the elbow because we took too long mega powering.
yes, completely miss it.
Forever for like 2
We
minutes.
never even get
Yeah,
to the
just
handshake.
like
I
super-
up and we're still here. And just like
super slow, just
Yep.
so the whole time.
I like that idea.
I told you we would kill your podcast. Look,
Well, you're down now. See?
Well,
This
he's
is the last one.
say my youngest is 15, so only thing I really got to worry about is the dogs.
I don't know. The opening said put the kids to bed, and then
Well, that's because sometimes we have some sparse language and
I get it.
adult themed content.
Like wishing death on Disco Inferno.
Well, no, that's just everybody in general.
No,
but
that's general audiences. That's approved for all
it's
ages.
rated for all ages.
Yep.
Oh,
Your turn.
there he is.
Welcome back.
How was your ride?
Everything go well?
Yeah,
Everything
kind
all
of.
right, guy? Did you wash your hands?
Ace
No,
Ventura. Sometimes nature calls.
No, it's a 7-year-old that doesn't know what she wants.
Same.
So.
So I'm 34. I don't know what I want.
Right. Yeah. I get it.
I know what I want. It's still really expensive.
So, the Even Stevens guys, I don't know a ton about them. I know you guys wrestled them, and then I saw that they were going to be on Ring of Honor. What is their whole thing?
They're kind of like they're like sitcom brothers, really.
Okay.
Like that's kind of their, obviously, like the name of the team is based off of the TV show.
Even Stevens, yeah.
But yeah, they also
Was that Shia
similarly
LaBeouf?
rock the Argyle, and they're like
That's a
they
good
act
show.
like they're these like
We're not that's what we're talking about.
good 90s sitcom like kids, but they're like secretly jerks.
And they're the best. They claim to be the best in the world, and we're the best of the best. So there was already like a little Twitter war between our fan bases. It went into multiple podcasts.
Yes.
At Invictus Pro Wrestling, a company where neither of us have any involvement with each other, we were fighting in the intermission, being pulled away from each other, not for punches, but just yelling at each other for a match that wasn't even booked. So it just kind of spiraled over 2 years to
Really?
finally be a match. It was supposed to happen last year. They won a number one contenders match, and then the show kept getting delayed and delayed and delayed,
And then we couldn't make a show, and then they couldn't make a show.
Yeah, so finally, almost a year later after the initial match was announced, we got to wrestle them, and it was awesome because we both teams came out before we even touched. Both fan bases chanted, "This is awesome."
We did it. It's funny to pull the curtain back a little bit. Like in the
Really
back,
cool.
we talked about. We're like, let's go out there. They're like, I'm like, they're probably gonna chant they're probably gonna start a chant before we even do anything, because like
Right.
they're hyped for this match, and they're like, you really think so? And we're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm like, I promise you, they're going to. Let's go. And Rad goes, why don't we just go out there and do the Rock Hogan? Yes, and we
God.
did.
Which
And
I thought
as
was
we were
even funnier.
as we
if
were
they
doing
did
the
the
Rock
pants. It was
Hogan, I
even
looked
funnier.
like under my breath, I looked at the guy across from me and I go, "I told you they would do it." And they were chanting, "This is awesome," and we hadn't done anything yet.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
The guy on the other side of me is going, "We literally haven't done anything yet. I don't get it."
I mean,
So
then we had
that's
a great 20-minute match. There was a back and forth, dusty finish. They won the tag belts, then they got taken back, and then we kept going, and we retained.
awesome.
Really
Love
great
that.
match. Yeah. And now they're in Ring of Honor, and we're here. That's good.
We're still the champs.
yeah, that's
we're
right.
still the champs.
If we
Except
lost
for
the belts, maybe
today.
we'd be in Ring of Honor. I don't know.
I would defend them in Ring of Honor.
So what we're saying here is, Tony Khan, book it. You're giving these guys a match on your show when they got beat by the champs. This is uncalled. What was the word I'm looking for? I need a good dad vocabulary.
Sandwiches.
You know what? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
There it
The
is.
audacity.
The audacity. There it is.
Tonathy Khan, you get over here and listen to
We
us
should
right
be
now.
we should be having a Donnie Brook on ROH. A brouhaha,
Yeah.
if you will.
The good old
Indeed.
A Pier 6 brawl.
Banger after banger after banger.
A
We don't
cordial
do that on-
rumble.
we don't do that on camera. So.
We should be throwing down in fisticuffs.
Oh.
Yeah, see?
Put them on.
I don't have the mustache for that.
Whenever I do that, I always think of the most random thing. WCW Road Wild 98. Just Jay Leno just doing this
Yeah.
50 million times in this match. And nobody ever swung at him. And as a
He's
kid,
got
I
the
was like,
biggest
"Oh,
target on planet Earth, and nobody ever did it.
just
Don't
hit
touch
him."
Jay Leno. He'll sue us all.
He'll run you over with his car. One of his many thousands of cars.
Yeah, he just got a
Yeah.
hell of a garage, dude.
Well, that's pretty cool though. Hopefully, we see the Stepdads on ROH pretty soon. Book it, Tony.
Maybe one day.
Make it happen.
I'm telling you,
That would
he
be-
takes some of my ideas. I
That would
don't
be a
know if he
really
watches
cool-
the show.
That'd be really cool, full circle for me, because what got me back into wrestling after I had fallen out, in 8th grade, that early 2000s era, was mid 2000s ROH, 2005, 2006 ROH got me back into wrestling.
Who all was that?
So,
Who was that roster?
do you have time?
Yeah.
AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson, Christopher Daniels, Matt Sydal,
BJ Whitmer.
Jimmy Rave, Alex Shelley, Jack Evans, Roderick Strong, unreal roster. Homicide.
BJ Whitmer.
BJ Whitmer. BJ Whitmer, Jimmy Jacobs.
Those were my first. Agreed, dude. Those were my first indie shows ever. Was that era? And I talk about it here all the time. It just
Delirious. It was at the time I started going. It was during the ROH versus CZW feud,
Oh yeah.
which was
Claudio
awesome.
was involved with that, right?
He turned on. There's actually the coolest piece of long-term storytelling in ROH from that is that for 100 shows, Christopher Daniels never followed the code of honor and shook someone's hand. And the first guy whose hand he shook was Claudio Castagnoli, and then Claudio turned on ROH later that night.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And I love that piece of trivia because it's so cool.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it doesn't matter if you don't know it, but if you do, it just adds
yeah.
so much
Yeah.
to it to me.
That's awesome.
Yep. Man, I remember CM Punk coming through the crowd and standing on the bleachers right next to us.
Oh yeah.
And that was before that's when he had the Pepsi plunge.
Yes, which ruined his knees and he had to stop doing it.
Who did you say was the main event match up there that you went to? Was it
Me?
Necro Butcher? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Necro Butcher and BJ Whitmer.
War of the Wire?
Yeah.
Dayton?
Yep.
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 So I was there around that because around
Wasn't a
that
second
same
in the
time,
match.
Necro wrestled Homicide, and that it had the chair riot when Necro got buried in the chair.
Yes. Yes.
I'm in that DVD throwing chairs.
Yes.
Actually, that match opens as a Samoa Joe versus Necro match. And if you ever watch that match, Joe used to do the thing where he'd run around the ring and do the kick,
Yep.
like the Olay kick. I'm holding Necro Butcher in the crowd as Joe kicks him in the face.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
I got Honor Club, so guess what I'm going back and watching.
Are those all on there?
There's a few random like Edison moments like you could see. Like there's also when Christopher Daniels and Matt Sydal win the tag titles from the Kings of Wrestling in like November of that year. If you watch in the back, you'll see one guy stand up like at the start of the 3 count for the finish, and it's my dad freaking out because he loved Christopher Daniels. So like they reverse their finish, and for the one, my dad immediately is up, like already celebrating. He's like he knows it's over.
Aww.
That's awesome.
It's-
Well, now I know to when I go back and watch old ROH stuff to look out for Wade, his dad. So
yeah,
that's
any
awesome.
of the Edison shows, most likely you'll like. We're in like the first or second row for most of them.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, early 2000s. I was still in grade school for that, and my dad was not exactly a wrestling fan, so we didn't go to any of that stuff. But I very much appreciate it now, and that's what I love about like Honor Club and all this stuff is I can go back and watch all that stuff and really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, that era is unreal. Like every show, because, and me and Rad we talk about this all the time. Like what killed ROH for us is when Gabe was booking at that time, everyone was given time to just go out and try to steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the difference when like Pierce takes over the booking a few years down the line, like 07, 08 in that era, where like the first bunch of matches have a lot of screw finishes and like the whole point of ROH was to not do the ref bumps and the DQs and stuff. And then a lot of the early matches have those, and then the only matches that really get a chance to steal the show are like the main and the semi-main.
Right.
And it hurts the quality of the overall card because you're not knowing what was going to be match of the night. Like anything could be match of the night.
Yeah, that's what you gotta love indies, man. It just these guys everybody's trying to make a name for themselves. So it's,
And that roster was unreal. Like because they hadn't been rated by like WWE yet because so all those guys had been honing their craft for so long that like they were all good.
Well, that's what actually got me into. Cause I started watching TNA because a lot of those guys ended up transitioning into TNA, and
that was seeing TNA is what got me to check out ROH because like I was like, oh, Joe and Styles are going to be at this show in Edison, and my dad was like, I'll go, and we walked in and like that building is like you're inside like a hockey rink.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, this is like it's like I feel like I just walked into like a cult meeting, like. We walked in and they were handing us toilet paper to throw it. They're like, throw this at Jimmy Rave when he comes out. And I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. I just got here.
Yeah.
But this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Well, that's how we went to AEW's first house show. It was in Troy, Ohio, which is about an hour and a half from us. And Hobart Arena, I mean, calling it an arena is, a stretch for sure. It's basically a hockey rink, and they probably have rodeos there. Like that's
nice.
That's what it's for. But it made it so cool. I mean, there were still like 3,000 people there or something like that.
Yes, 92% to capacity.
But it was so cool the way they shot. Like the whole arena had like a real like smoky, foggy effect to it, and then there was just a spotlight on the ring. It felt like I was watching like NWA from like the 70s or something. Like it was so cool.
The thing I miss most about that era of like indies was a lot of the shows I would go to, Jersey All Pro, ROH, CZW, they would have the lights out in the building and they would just have like either tower lights or like a spotlight on the ring, and it just added to that that feeling. Like it just added so much to the atmosphere of it. Like ROH, like it's in the dark unless they turn the lights on and they're fighting in the crowd. It's like you can't see the other fans. You're focused on the ring. Like
That's probably how like it started. You know, even back in the carnival days. That's probably because you think about like circuses and stuff like that. I mean, that's your main attraction has all the light on it. Everything else is darkened
in
out.
my mind, that was always what separated like the big indies from like the smaller ones at that time. Was like if they had the lights, they were like legit. They were you knew you were gonna get a killer show.
Yep.
Rad, your mic is not working.
Nope.
No. 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 He's not home. Do you sign?
Yeah, you got nothing.
Okay. Dum dum. Dum dum. Oh.
I don't know, try unplugging it and plugging it back in.
Yeah.
Did you,
The dad way.
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again?
Yeah.
Yeah, those those shows are always like the coolest to me. That's so weird.
Yeah, that was just one of the things I noticed from going to that, which that was a fantastic show to go to, by the way. Like, if House Rules ever comes out near Jersey, like, highly suggest it, because those shows are so much fun, man. But it was the atmosphere of it was just, God, it was so cool. Because, like, you could still see the crowd a little bit, but it was pretty much solely focused on the ring, and it just, you could see it was like kind of like a smoky, hazy, like, atmosphere. It was really cool. I liked it.
That's so weird.
Come on, Rad Dad.
Do you have like a different, like another mic, like just like an in the computer mic?
No.
Ridiculous.
Oh.
No. Nope.
No. Dang on it. Gee dang it.
Weird.
Gee dang it, indeed.
That's fitting. That's fitting for
how. Top of the bear's lap. No.
I think he's gonna come up here.
Oh, hey, there you go. That works.
That's what Eric and I had to do during WrestleMania. We were both in the dad den, and then
Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Hold on, I wonder if it's. Huh. Because
Did you check your splitter?
Just bring my mic down there.
Check the splitter.
Like, I wonder if it's the wire or if it's the mic.
Maintenance.
Mike Martin for maintenance.
Anywho,
hold on.
Yeah, no, I'm
gonna literally take my mic, run it down there, and then I'll talk through my crappy mic on my laptop, because at least we'll be able.
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
I'm down.
So,
speak amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic.
Had a cup of coffee the other day.
A titmouse, neither a tit nor a mouse. Discuss.
Discuss. I'm a bit verklempt.
Neither a tit nor a mouse. Discuss.
I never know like what to say there. I know the sketch. I know it's Mike Myers.
Mike Myers, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, Kruger knows.
Coffee. I told Linda the other day.
Linda.
The Jerry Seinfelds and such. He has such a good show. It's such a good
He's such a handsome handsome fella.
He's such a handsome young man.
What's your daughter doing?
He's going places. Now, I have a niece that just you would be perfect for. I'll tell you what, man, this is fitting. Like, talk about dads having technical difficulties.
Especially
we always
stepdads.
do. I know. Stepdads don't have it together like real dads do.
I can't check it without signing out.
I can hear you
I
now.
can hear him now.
You can hear me now?
Yeah.
We have the exact same mic. I don't understand.
Boom,
Right,
boom,
thanks,
boom,
Wade.
boom. I have a sound effect for that, but it's not working. So
How about that? Now just
Thanks,
gotta
Wade. You
scotch
saved
tape-
us.
Gotta scotch tape this to this. Just do that.
No, I'm gonna
There you
sound
go.
terrible, but it is what it is.
Hey, that's
At
all
least
right.
there's
We can
audio.
hear everybody. What was Mike Myers' character's name in that sketch? You know SNL better than me.
Oh,
Is Linda?
God. Coffee
Was his name
Talk
Linda?
with-
Coffee Talk.
yeah, Linda something, I believe.
Coffee talk.
Neither a tit nor a mouse. Discuss.
Hold on, I'm actually looking it up because I'm curious.
Linda Shrek.
Linda Shrek.
Now my niece Jennifer would be just
Linda Richmond,
Linda Richmond.
I believe. I don't know if they ever if it was an important part of it, but I know it was based off his actual mother-in-law. I think.
Oh my
really?
god, it's so good.
I'm a bit verklempt.
Yeah, that and what Church Lady was an icon.
Church lady. When that's special. I loved when John Goodman would come on and be Church Lady's mom. That was always amazing to me.
I always loved any time they would do they'd bring the guest in as whatever an extra person in whatever sketch. Although of course the iconic coffee talk moment is when Barbara Streisand just walks through and it's Mike Myers and Madonna and no one told them Barbara was going to walk through and Streisand just walks right through behind them and they all freak out.
Oh my god!
Barbara Streisand. Yeah, that God, man. I honestly, we could probably have a whole podcast just talking about old SNL sketches.
Oh, you absolutely could. I'd be great at that.
He'll literally be your co-host. He does not even
Yeah.
get to that point.
Yeah.
I like
So, Ray,
that
it looks
idea.
like you've been doing a lot of singles action lately. Is there a rift between the stepdads or?
Yeah, someone keeps messing with my microphone, so I need a new tag team partner. Is what's going on? No, I'm kidding.
No, it's mostly. This is very I've been very busy on so a lot of those tapings happen on during the week, and with the Devils actually doing well, there's a lot of hockey games. I have season tickets, so I didn't
Okay.
and I've had them since before I knew we were going to be doing this, so I can't just. And then the weeks that I have been able to go, it's rained every week. All spring, every other week it's rained, and those are the weeks I've been able to go. So
Yeah. So for those who don't know, GTS Grimm's Toy Show is a YouTube show. It's for 13-year-olds that like swearing. That's the demographic essentially.
yeah,
Right.
It's
I
to
had
give
one of
it a
those.
backyard wrestling feel, even though it's not actually a backyard, it's a set. It's outside. It's literally outdoors, and it's kind of filmed in that vlog style. So you are in character for a full hour and a half as everything happens around you, and the wrestlers act as the crowd, and things happen, throughout the show, around the ring and stuff like that.
Right.
So, it's filmed mostly during the week. I think that might change going into the summer now that the weather's better. More people will show up. But, yeah, I've been doing a lot of single stuff. I'm the GTS Intercontinental Champion, which is fun
Love it.
because I haven't spread my wings as a singles guy in a really long time. I love tag team wrestling. I love the Stepdads. That's not going to change. But because Wade is busy, I've been doing a lot of single stuff. They like me. They threw the belt on me. I've been wrestling my heart out there. I'm having a lot of fun coming up with new, moves and having some fun storylines and stuff. Wade recently helped me win a big championship title defense a couple of weeks ago.
There you go.
And working for GTS is great because, like I said, we tend to kill every promotion we're in. So a great way to get a bigger following, especially online, is through one of these YouTube shows that has a huge following. The video I won the Intercontinental Championship on got 87,000 views.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Holy cow.
our Facebook, which had maybe almost 2,000 followers last November when we started there, it's almost at 5,000 now. It might be at 5,000 today.
Your phone
yeah.
must have so many.
So
alerts.
it's funny how it's not it's not the live the live events with the 200 people. But I post a video of me in a cage match, it gets 200,000 views, and that goes to our monetization. You know, I just today put us in for monetization on Twitter. We're already monetized on Facebook. This is extra money that's going right back to our merchandise and our gear, and you know, we don't use the money for ourselves when we make money in the merch table. We put it right back into the company, right back into the Stepdads.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
So
and we do
yeah,
need new
so
gear, so that's helpful.
We're learning. We're learning that.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Sometimes it goes into like new microphones.
Yeah,
it just might.
it just might.
I mean, these were as nice as they look. These were pretty cheap, so like I'm not surprised that one of them died.
Hey man,
Yeah, just Amazon ones.
I got this bad boy on clearance for $25. Target.
Yeah, I think these were like 18. Like, and mine, and they came with like an arm and everything. Like they were just Amazon specials.
There you go.
Yeah, you got the full setup here. But yeah,
I think I bought some generic brand soundboard microphone combo, and well, I just love it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, Mike likes doing his voices.
Oh, Eric, you're so silly.
Ridiculous.
The only voices we do is usually like just imitating other people on car rides. Like Rad usually does Hogan, and I'll do Macho Man if we're doing like Mega Powers. My favorite one to do is I constantly break out like a random Teddy Hart impression when we're just driving.
Very good one too.
Yeah, because it's just like a very generic Canadian accent. Because he would always just like talk about himself in the third person and just like make up nicknames for other people or make up conflicts or like just exaggerate everything. So like, he'd be like, "Tell my fans out there, if you love me, then I love you, and if you hate me, well, then fuck you too, buddy, because I am Teddy Hart, and I am the greatest of all time, and Jack Evans from the heavens, we are the greatest tag team in Canada ever, and we are going to win the tag team title. So I did not kill that girl, and I don't know what people are talking about, but that never happened, and you know, I never killed anyone. I love my cat. Me and Mr. Money, we are best friends. Yeah.
Oh. Oh my
Something
god.
like that.
You tell me that's not what Teddy Hart sounds like, because it's what he sounds like.
Yes.
But the thing I was like, there's literally a promo I watched where he's like, "To all my fans who love me, I love you, and if you hate me, well, then fuck you." Like, and I was like, this is the craziest
Oh,
thing I've
and
ever heard.
every crowd is the greatest crowd he's ever wrestled in front of.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Always
been in a
refers
few
to
of those.
Jack Evans as Jack Evans from the heavens, and
Jack Evans from the heavens. Oh my.
So what is this this split that's going on? I keep seeing that the black and white or the white and black. Is that what's going on there?
So there was like a fracture in just like the regular NWO in on GPS that there was a group called DF, which stands for Degeneration Fat, and originally at least. And then
Who knows what it is
it was a group, and the leader of it was Grim, and he had the belt, and his brother split off and formed his own DF Black and White from the Black and Green, the Black and Lime, and made his own group. I'm pretty sure the DF in that one just stands for Duhop's Faction, because that's literally like, why not? And then there's a third group that has now splintered off. So yeah, it's very much, it's like Vince Russo booked it.
As a parody, this is a parody company that makes fun of itself. Our next event is called Fat Lash. They just had the food in the fridge ladder match. So this is exactly.
Are we gonna have a DF on a pole match? Oh. If we're Vince Russo booking this thing?
I mean, the Grim literally refers to himself as the tribal chef. Like, it's always
the head of the food table, the tribal chef.
Yeah.
There's so many. I can't get into it. So yeah, his idea of splitting up like an NWO style. We have an NWO now and a DX now. And what can you do that makes it even more ridiculous? Well, now there's a third group. So now there's 3 DFs. And then there's a guy named the Gargantuan who has the GF, the Gargantuan Federation, because he doesn't know how to spell it. And so that's a one-man group, but he keeps trying to add people, and nobody wants to join his group.
It's
Yeah.
just him.
And
And
yeah,
at one
it's just
point,
ridiculous comedy for the sake of comedy.
at one point, everyone was giving him shirts to the other group to try to force him on the other group. Like it's all ridiculous. And a lot of it is just like it's actually a lot of fun because it's very improv comedy. Like,
Yes.
a lot of it is just like on the fly, like reacting, and it's really fun for that. It's really good. It's really a good workout in that way. That like you don't really get to do that often in like practice, like in training.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. It's all forget the wrestling. The wrestling is whatever. The character work is so much fun. That reminds me of like 70s, 80s Memphis, where it's 90 minutes live and anything random's gonna happen, and Jerry Lawler's just gotta go out and react to it on the fly. Like that's
Andy Kaufman's fighting women,
and so they used to have an intergender championship held by James Ellsworth, but they had that, and that was in the same idea. It's literally he's filming on a camera in your face, like vlog style, so he's not even capturing everything. For 90 minutes as you're running around in character, and you cannot break character. You're doing it for the whole time.
Yeah.
hey, man, you know what? As long as it's entertaining, that's what matters.
Sounds like fun.
It is. I just try to. Anytime I'm there, I try to bring the comedy I like to it, because like I watch it and sometimes I'm like, wow, this is really lowbrow and really stupid. And then other times, like I watch it and I'm like, that was really funny. That reaction was really funny. Like I try to bring that, like the weird, like my weird humor of like, we have a rumble and like our whole faction gets in the rumble and everyone is getting in the ring in a line and I just keep walking around the ring for the entire rumble doing our like bushwhacker walk around the whole
we have
ring
a bushwhacker walk
until the entire like the entire match, and every time I walk past I'm just like in the guy's face as he's filming. It's like, oh no, I'm not in the rumble, I'm just chaperoning this rumble.
Yeah.
Or like I'm just yelling nonsense, or like like the Gargantuan gets eliminated and I'm on camera yelling that like they're like, oh, are you mad that your team lost? And I'm like, no, I'm mad because I bet $2,000 on the Gargantuan and he lost. How could he lose?
Literally one guy in our group are black. I'm on the black and white side, which great for the shirt. Literally they came out doing a bushwhackers just for fun. Suddenly everyone starts doing it. Now Grim, the promoter, went to WrestleMania in LA and fans were doing the bushwhacker thing with him.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
You know, the internet following's fantastic. That's what's
walking
so
out to
great
the
about
ring
it.
going, move, show, sex.
Yeah.
Move, show, sex. That's it.
The catchphrase of the leader.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's quite like the equivalent of like a band, doing a venue and people are singing their song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, so I went to AEW or Full Gear or whatever it was. That was at the Prudential Center like the end of last year with Skate Match and all that nonsense. And I went to it with the leader of our group, Duhop, who's the Grimm's brother, who runs this, who's like it's his show. And I invited him just because like I had nobody to go with. I got the tickets last minute. We ended up going, and like we're walking around just like he's vlogging the whole thing because he has his own like vlog and stuff. And there's people like stopping us, and they're like, "Oh my God, are you Duhop? Can I get a picture with you?" Like, and it's just from the internet. It's just from YouTube.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
But that's the wrestling community, man. That it's so niche, but it's
utilizing every option out there.
Yep.
Exactly. And we got a lot of criticism at first because we even saw it looks like a backyard wrestling show. It's guys that are fairly new. But people like, for example, and this is real, like Thunder Rosa, MJF, when they were very green, were on Grimm's Toy Show.
Huh.
We knew Max Caster was on Grimm's Toy Show when we first met him. Like
we rode to GPS with Joey Janela one time.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. So like
that's awesome.
The stars come and go, but like even though they're green and everything, the platform is so awesome, and it's not for everybody, but that's what makes it unique. So much of wrestling is just WWE light now. I've never liked that. I don't think Wade likes that. We want it to be unique, like that Ring of Honor style was back in the day. Similar to the NWA tries its own style. MLW tries to have its own style. So this isn't a style for everybody, but there's such a great following, especially with our demographic. Teenagers, kids, they love that stuff.
And it's
we have gotten live bookings from this where the kids went nuts to see us.
It's made to be silly, and it's fun to just go out there and be as silly and caricature-like as possible. And it's also a good place to try out stuff that you want to try. Like if it doesn't work, it's like who cares? Like,
right?
I mean, people are gonna see it, but like it doesn't matter. If you screw up or you get to see a reaction in the comments, you can see what people like it or don't like. You get instant feedback of like, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. That didn't work.
Well, and like, for example, like how you said, it's not for everybody. Like Danhausen, like I know there's a ton of people out there that are like, why is this guy on AEW television? And then there's other people that he's got like a cult following with. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I love Danhausen. Like my daughter's got a painting of him on her wall. Like I love everything he does.
The first time I ever saw Danhausen wrestle was in Limitless, the main promotion. He was in like a random 6-way throwaway match
before the face paint too.
Well, he had just started doing the face paint,
or maybe like that month.
But like he was like just starting doing like the face paint and stuff. And I remember going to Red and we're talking about the show and I'm like, this guy is gonna be awesome. Like,
and you remember what I said? I said that Daniel Garcia guy is gonna be awesome.
Yes,
really.
Who also debuted that night.
Yes. So
I really wish they'd do something more with him.
Same.
Like I really had hope when like the whole like kind of the
You're a wrestler.
Yeah, the three-way dance between Danielson and
right now.
The good thing about that is that he's in the perfect scenario that whenever they're ready to pull the trigger, you have Garcia Jericho, and that's really where the money is.
Yes.
And they know that. Yep. They know that, and they know the longer they build to it, the bigger it's going to be. Why not? Why not wait? Why not?
Instead of a 1 year, history, it's you can make it several years.
Yeah. Why pull the trigger now? And he just goes on to be random wrestler number 20 when he's ready and when they have a moment for him. They pull the trigger on him. Suddenly, oh, here's a TNT belt. Oh, here's a big feud with the next big guy, and they're ready to go.
Kind of like what they did with Yuta when he faced Mox. I mean that put him so freaking over. It was ridiculous.
I feel like they're doing that with Jungle Boy right now too. It feels like he's not going anywhere, and it's because they're waiting to pull the trigger. And when they do, it's going to be big.
I can't wait for this 4-way dance.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Hey.
Really?
I'm down. Just teach me how to take a couple bumps. We'll be all right.
I'm too old. I'm over 40.
Well, Mike can be on the outside of the ring doing the bushwhacker dance, and then I'll be in there taking the bumps.
Fantastic.
Me and Rad Dad can take.
I'll take one table bump, and then that's it. I'll retire.
That's all he wants.
I'll hit you with a Rikishi driver through the table.
Yes.
Oh God.
That has happened before.
It has happened.
But one of the things I was gonna say about Danhausen, one of the first matches I ever saw him in, it was an ROH match, and I can't remember who it was that somebody like he was on the ring apron, and then somebody like picked him up like on their shoulders. It was one of his opponents. Mm-hmm. I want to say it was like Beer City Bruisers or something like that. But like he picks him up and he's like walking around with him, and you can hear Danhausen just being like, "Put me down, put me down." Like it's just so stupid and funny, and I love it. And like as much as I can't stand seeing Jeff Jarrett on my television, like him stealing Jeff Jarrett's guitar and like playing it in front of him, like just hilarious.
Don't say that around the Rad Dad.
Don't start with me. He likes to say I'm obsessed with Jeff Jarrett. I am not. That's the exact opposite.
I never said you're obsessed. I just said he's your favorite wrestler ever.
He's not. No. Stop. No. You know what? My mic is going out again.
Trouble in love land.
How dare you? It's terrible.
You got lust in your eyes.
for Jeff Jarrett.
There's just times where like
hot dogging and grandstanding.
See the way you're looking into his eyes.
And just like I randomly will go out for the match, and we'll open the match up, and like I'll start the match with my opponent, and we'll circle, and I'll just do the Jeff Jarrett taunt just to do it.
Yes, I have also in our when we regained the tag belts, I literally did the Jeff Jarrett dance and then yelled Jeff Jarrett, and then I got And that was before he even came back. So that
Yeah.
half the crowd probably doesn't even know who Jeff Jarrett was.
Sounds
Neither
like,
of you
Right.
guys
like
done the
something
work
someone would do if
inside
Jeff
the
Jarrett
ring.
was their favorite wrestler. Is all I'm saying.
I don't want to hear it from you. I don't. You know what? I'm back to singles now. I'm back to singles.
Oh,
Terrible. Now,
For me, it was just the fact that they were wrapped up in the tag titles feud for way longer than I thought they needed to be. But that was just my own personal
I
opinion.
can't
For sure,
comment on
for
that.
sure.
I have no
kudos to
idea
Jarrett
what's
for
going on with
being, his age and still being able to go out there. I mean, he's like Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's found that fountain of youth somehow.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is Jarrett does the same. He never did anything in 1995 that he doesn't still do now. That's why he's still Jeff Jarrett.
And
He has never done anything that he couldn't do when he was
You know,
60.
he never-
the crazy part is that because he's the same exact wrestler he was in 95, he's super unique to all the styles that you see in AEW. Now, he's literally the old school style. He's like one of 3 people that does that in AEW. That's what makes it super
And
unique.
he also committed to never learning how to book right. So, like, there's that.
Oh,
I
don't even get me started
will
there.
say that Jeff Jarrett, phenomenal on his podcast, phenomenal storyteller about how his matches work and the structure. I'll listen to that. I love that stuff. The worst management I've ever heard in my life. Like, it makes no sense.
Like,
He's not his
like
daddy.
He's like a great guy that you like a talent relations guy, but do not put him in charge of the book.
Yeah.
No. That's what scared me when he showed up. I was like, oh, God.
Oh.
We're about to get a
He can work on
King
the
of the
live
Mountain
events.
or
He can do
some
the live
shit.
event
Dixie
stuff.
Carter's going on here.
Well, that was the funny thing is that at the house show, he wrestled at the first house show against Brian Pillman Jr. and went over. And I told our buddy Nick, who just can't stand Jarrett, I was like, so Jarrett wrestled at the house show. He's like, he went over, didn't he? I was like, yep. He was like, that figures.
I thought he was going to win the international title a few weeks ago. I really did.
I thought he was too.
There was gonna be on-screen burning of an action figure.
It just made sense to me why this title is randomly changing on this night and why like Jarrett's getting his first singles match. It just seems to make sense to me. Oh my goodness, look at that.
Double J Micro Brawler.
Fantastic.
I have an Ultimate Warrior one over there somewhere.
I think so I love that he won.
That's probably one of the best ones,
I think
though.
one of my favorite things I read recently. I can't remember who it was, but Steve Blackman had like a long feud with someone that like I think it was like mostly on house shows, but like it might have been against like Hardcore Holly or something. And,
Yeah.
like,
Oh man,
they
but that
wrestled
was
each other like
hard.
28 times or something.
Oh yeah, I know what you're
in a
talking
row.
about. Yep.
And Steve Blackman lost every single house show match they had, 27 of them, but the 28th match was on Raw, and Steve Blackman went over. And I appreciate the hell out of that. I appreciate the hell of the mentality of like, I don't care if you beat me in front of just random people in this house show over and over again, but we're on TV, brother. Steve Blackman goes over.
I want to say that was Jarrett too.
Was it?
I think so. Because that would have been
I couldn't remember. I know it was Blackman,
early
I couldn't remember
'99.
who the other person involved was. It might have been Jared.
Or Road Dog, maybe somewhere in that mid card.
I
I
was
think
gonna
it might have
say,
been Jarrett.
I
Hardcore
just
Holly
love the
and
idea
Steve
of that.
Blackman.
That's incredible.
That's 2 hard-hitting guys right there.
The best Hardcore Holly story ever that me and Rad love is the one
Love
of
it.
them in the locker room just being like, anyone else have any ideas on what we should do with the show? And Hardcore Holly being like, yeah, how about you give me the belt? And they're just like, what? And like,
Huh?
and they go, well, and then what? And he goes, well, and then I'll be champ.
This is like late '98. The peak, like Vince Russo just left. Or
Monday Night
whatever.
Wars. Bob Holly in a locker room meeting goes, how about you give me the belt?
Just give me the
How about you give me the belt? All right,
Then
well,
what?
all right, we get that, Bob, but like we need to like think about what's next after that. I got an idea. How about I just keep the? I'll be
I'll be
I'm the champ.
Then I'll be champ.
In the peak era of Austin and Triple H and Rock and why don't you slap that on
Well, they
me?
say professional wrestling in general.
Yeah.
You know what? That's what it is. That's the you sure about that? You sure about that?
And then they pretty much
great.
pushed him for like a month in '99 or something. They're like, "That's it, we're done. No, we're done with you.
Yeah.
Good try."
Bob Holly, gotta love it.
Could have had
Once
Bob
he
Holly,
lost
Steve
Crash,
Austin
it
main
was-
event
We've
just on
completely
Raw.
gone off the rails, by the way. I don't know if you had any actual questions for us, but we've answered none of them.
We just wanted to chat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of what we do.
None of our. I mean, the last interview we did, well, 2 interviews ago. I mean, we had like a couple serious questions, and then we asked like, "What's your favorite breakfast cereal?" So like, in no way do we consider ourselves like super professional. We ask the hard hitting journalistic questions that need to be answered.
It's kind of like the opening to every King of the Hill episode.
Yeah,
Just hanging out with the guys.
Yeah.
just hanging out with
Yeah,
the
I've got
guys.
some
I
new
love it.
nicknames if you want to hear those.
Yes, please.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I would
I
also,
don't-
if you could share, like you at one point said you might be able to share this said list because I have tried to, I introduced myself as several different things, but
Mhm.
if I could, any suggestions you might be able to send my way with, if you seem to have a mind for that,
Also, I do,
would be much
I do have an
obliged.
answer for favorite breakfast cereal.
Go for it.
Yes.
Waffle Crisp.
Ooh,
Oh,
Just came back like
Ooh.
last year.
dang! I had that in a minute.
I have a box of it in the kitchen.
Right me
I
out.
found it at Walmart.
Really?
You know, so if
I'm
you're
a
at
Lucky
Walmart,
Charms
look
guy
for a
myself.
big box of Waffle Crisp.
Thank you. Me too.
Waffle Crisp was so good.
Well,
One of the few cereals I can
Joe.
eat without milk and still taste delicious.
He's not looking at
Lucky
you.
I
Charms.
got it.
Fist bump.
Boom.
Boom.
There it is.
We did it. And I did a little bomb too. Because I'm old.
I'll be 43
So,
tomorrow.
I don't know where we left
I
off.
still got you.
Did we leave off at maybe the parental eyebrow? Also good, the parental elbow once we do the Macho Man Hogan elbow drop when we get to that. We also have the Dadicles,
Yep. Terrible.
Like it.
BDE, Big Dad Energy.
Yep.
Yes.
Figure it out, kids. I like this one. I don't think Wade likes it. The Snap Crackle Papas.
I love it.
It's certainly, of all our nicknames, it's certainly one of them.
Yes, one of them.
Well, so Mike actually came up with one the other day for us. You wanna tell him, Mike?
We have, instead of BSK Pride, Bone Street Crew, we're BFK Pride, Big Kids.
Okay.
Because that's what we are, literally.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
for
sitting here
life.
with
You're
a
right.
bunch of.
Yeah.
My only critique would be in the world of wrestling, don't put the F word and kids that close together.
Yeah, it's probably a good call.
Don't want to get canceled.
Because that'll get you the Tim Robinson reaction of I didn't do anything. I didn't do
shit.
uh,
God damn it!
Aw,
Wait,
dang it, Wade.
there's an Instagram account that's just I think you should reel, and it's just reels of I think you should leave, and it's
I will say
fantastic.
my favorite of all of our nicknames that like is a little more recent is the Mother Takers. The Mother Takers is the best one.
Ah, that was next on my list.
I
Yeah.
love the Mother Takers.
The Mother Takers. Also, this was a sign in our match with Even Stevens, the Time Outsiders.
Ooh.
There you go. I also got the Sonic Boomers.
Yeah.
For you,
I'm a fan of Sonic Boomer.
90s
as a
fans.
fan of Street Fighter.
simply the best. Now that we've beaten Even
Simply-
Stevens, we're simply the best.
Simply the best.
The best. The
Love it.
best.
The Dadley Boys.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my new favorites, the Midlife Express.
Oh.
Yes.
That's it right there. Leave you with that.
That's
That
fantastic.
is a really good one.
What
I love those.
the Midlife
The Midlife
Express.
And I still have a whole list right here.
Just
on and
tons
on
of
and
them.
on.
I love it.
Hey, real quick. I do have a question. Quick question. Do you know why the bicycle could not stand?
No.
It was too tired.
Yeah, that'll do it.
My goodness.
You ever hear? Did I ever tell you the story about the time I mixed up the words yakuza and jacuzzi?
No. This
Got me
ought to
in
be
real
good
hot
though.
water with the Japanese mafia.
Excuse me, Chimanatli. Yes.
You know,
That.
recently I bought one of those educational globes for our kid. I come home and my wife bought the same one. It's a small world.
Yeah.
You know, of all the inventions from the past 100 years, dry erase board has to be the most remarkable.
Do you know what's green? Has 4 legs that if it fell out of a tree would kill you.
Oh.
A pool table.
It's not. It doesn't make any sense. But one of my favorites that I remember riddles is from Batman the movie, 1966. What weighs 16 ounces, sits in a tree, and is very dangerous?
It was like a hummingbird with a machine gun or some nonsense.
A sparrow with a machine gun.
Yes.
Of course, Robin. That's the only possible answer. That's the actual line from the movie. Love that movie.
I actually got to meet Adam West a few years back with my son, and I walked up to him, and I didn't get a picture, autograph, or anything like that. I broke. But anyway, I walked up to him and I was like, Mikey, this is this was the first Batman that I ever knew. Yes.
Yes.
My son looks at him and says, "You're Batman?" He looks at my son and says, "Well, yes, son, I am." And that voice saying that was just like, oh my god.
The hardest recent non-purchase I had to make. I was at Target and they had board shorts for the pool and stuff, and they were like tropical board shorts, but the design on them was 60s Joker on the surfboard and 60s Batman on the surfboard. And I just didn't need them because I just bought new pairs last summer, but man, it killed me not to buy them.
It's fair though.
Hey.
Guess who's going to Target tomorrow?
Hey, there you go. Belt and everything.
Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
Which actually, that's in the works now too. We're getting dad team championships made.
Fantastic.
Nice. We'll challenge you for them.
Yeah.
Oh,
anytime,
it's on.
any
We're the
place.
world fatherweight champions.
The world fatherweight
That's
champions. It'd be magic. I'm just saying.
We're champions of the ex-wife division.
The ex-wife champion.
Yeah, it's not.
The ex-wife division.
It was about weight limits with her.
Mike, we're just literally going to have to sit at work and just come up with these because we're getting killed right now.
Right now.
Well, I'm not good on the spot. I need to think about mine. I'm terrible.
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
good
spot,
for
but...
the spontaneity. That's a word. And
yes.
Eric has a beautiful mind when it comes to memory of remembering everything else. He'd be like, "Remember this?" I'm like, "Remind me."
Nope, sure
Give me a
don't.
link.
That's fair.
Both of them. It's really troubling.
I'm both of them. It's really troubling.
I have all the memory. I have the on the spot jokes, but then the memory of the really funny on the spot jokes I told in the past.
Hey, that's a good thing to have. Rad, pick your game up, bud. Come on.
I got one for you. What do you call a horny square? And a rectangle. I was ready. See that?
I really like slightly messed up dad jokes, like that are like slightly dark or just very dark. A good slightly one would be like, my kid was reading a book the other day. He's like, "Hey, can I get a bookmark?" 10 years old, still doesn't know my name's Justin.
Yes. One of my favorites is two guys walk into a bar. You think the second one would have ducked?
As I gave my dad his 50th birthday present, he looked at me with tears in his eyes. He said, "You know, one would have been enough."
Gee, Manatli. Oh.
That's what he signed
I
up
feel
for.
like I have so many that I'm just going to remember as soon as we get off. And
Knock, knock. Who's there? He said his
Who's
brain
there?
riddled with Alzheimer's.
Oh.
Not recognizing his own son.
My God.
It's me, your son, you old bitch.
There's so many times where we're in locker rooms just saying stuff like this to each other, and people are like, "Stop! It's a gimmick." And I'm like, "It's not a gimmick. It's clearly not a
Live
gimmick.
this.
Yeah,
This is what you get when you come to
Yeah.
a locker room with us."
this is real life.
Or like, you want a good stepdad joke? You know, because like we have dad jokes. Like, what's a good stepdad joke? It's like, you know, your mom is so fat, but I love her so much, and I'm really trying to make this work. Or what do you call cheese that's not yours? Son, there's no house.
Nacho.
There's no cheese in this house. It's not yours. We're a family now.
I can't top that. That was really good.
That was good.
That's like one
That was a
of our
really good
jokes
one.
is always like, I think it's a really funny line that like not people don't always get it, but like it goes over their heads because we throw it out there really quick. We'll be like, "Look, we're not trying to replace your favorite wrestlers. We just hope that someday you can also accept us as your favorite wrestlers also."
Yes, love that.
The classic stepdad talk.
Yeah, but yeah,
You don't have to call me
my
dad.
favorite thing, like the your mom is so fat, but I'm trying so hard to make this work is like my favorite.
I love that. I love that.
Or then, like, when does a joke become a dad joke? When the punchline becomes apparent.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
You two are so punny. It's ridiculous.
Cut it out. We actually did have a guy chase.
Kidding.
You'll appreciate this, Wade. You weren't there. I had a guy chase me with scissors at the last GTS taping, and we made sure to tell him to cut it out. So that's on tape. That'll be on the next episode.
What show was Dave Coulier on before he was on Full House?
I don't know.
It was like a Nickelodeon show or something kid show because that's where the Cut It Out started. Before it was ever on Full House.
If it was the only Canadian show I could think of that was on there would have been like You Can't Do That on
You can't do
Television.
it on television, yeah. That must have been it. That's the first live action show on that network.
Clearly, he was on Star Search because we all remember that episode of Full House where he was on Star Search and he lost.
Mm-hmm.
And he lost to. Okay, this is real deep trivia, but it just you talk about the beautiful mind stuff. He loses to another comedian, and the comedian he loses to is a guy named Steve Odekirk, who is most famous for making a really ridiculous dubbed over Japanese movie called Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is who Dave Coulier, Uncle Joey, loses to on Star Search in Full House.
That's amazing. What a piece of trivia
That's
right
decent
there.
trivia.
It's a hell of a tournament.
Sorry,
I just had a brain fart. I
I
was thinking of
the Google machine. I want to find it.
speaking of horribly dubbed over Japanese shows, MXC.
Yes.
Did you guys ever watch
Oh
that
my
back in the
God,
day?
I love it.
I loved MXC so much.
You
You think I'm
cannot
not
air
gonna
that
love
on
a
TV
show
now.
that has a character named
Out
Guy
of
Ledouche?
Control was the name of the show.
Guy Ledouche.
Okay.
Out of Control. I've never seen it.
Yeah. Oh man.
And as we all know, Dave Coulier most famous for Alanis Morissette writing a really angry song about him.
Right?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
to
Just
this
because he,
day,
didn't want to have sex at a funeral or whatever. Like,
Yeah, what the hell?
I do have to say, to this day, at least once a week at work, I'll just randomly go, "Let's go,"
yeah.
and nobody thinks it's a reference to anything, but it's totally an MXT thing.
Oh, MXT was the best.
Oh, so good.
And it was all
Right you are, Ken.
Racist now.
it was the
So-
same humor as GTS. It was all like poop humor. Oh, we'll play sinkers and floaters, and then we'll play like the games were all like they were all ridiculous jokes.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Pole riders. Whatever the heck the rolling log one was always the funniest. What was that? I can't remember what that was called for some reason.
Oh, I can't remember them.
I always loved the boulder coming
Yeah,
down
That's what I
and
was gonna
just.
say.
Oh my god, that was my favorite.
Always so funny.
Anyone that the surfboard one where they had to jump on and off the surfboard as it was like doing like a 360.
Mhm.
That one always had great
Yes.
fails. Anyone that had great just failures was
That's where
fun
they
to
ate
watch.
it completely.
Yeah, like the ones where they'd have to like just run across like a bunch of like lily pads and then they just
Because
like
he showed
absolutely
That was
bite it.
Great with the rock.
And then they would make up whatever they said beforehand and it was always something ridiculous. It
They'd
was
come out and be
so
like,
good.
1 in the pink, 2 in the stink, let's go, and then they just
Wipeout.
and there was always somebody named something Baba Ganoush. Every episode had someone who was named something Baba Ganoush.
Pink, 2, 6, let's go.
Oh, there's a Twitter
That's what
just
they
called
would do.
MXT
It would
quote.
be like porn stars versus mechanics or whatever. Like the
Yeah.
I'll give you a few. There's a Twitter account that's just MXC quotes. So show me a strong woman, and I'll show you my restraining orders. Captain, who wants to deport Celine Dion? Crowd, we do.
Oh God, it was Kenny Blankenship and who was the other host? God,
Guy Ledouche.
no, Guy Ledouche was the reporter in the field. There was the
Oh, that's right. You're right.
it was
Okay.
Captain Tennille was the captain.
Vic.
Yeah.
Vic Romano. Okay.
Yes. Vic Romano. Yeah.
There's one that,
Right you are, Ken.
according to this, it just says a guy walked up and he yelled, "Watch out, I'm Amish," and then started running. The what? I drink.
Oh, I'm dying. Don't get eliminated.
They would always do like the random game to open it where they'd all run and like jump over a wall or something, and they'd be like,
Yeah.
And just remember, anybody who fails goes straight to jail. Like or like what? Be like
What?
Like anyone who doesn't make it out is turned into compost. Like it was always something absurd.
So that's the thing. Was it? I never understood. Like, was it an actual game show that like somebody just
Yeah.
bought the rights to and then they dubbed over
It's
it?
still called Takeshi's Castle, which was like one of those Japanese. Like it was kind of similar to like the original like Ninja Warrior, but more silly.
Yeah, like Wipeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, all things I know off
That's-
the top of my head. You want to know random trivia? This is why I tried out for Jeopardy several times.
Really?
I have not made it, but we're still trying.
Oh yeah, on Boulder Dash there'd be people like in the cutouts that would push them back.
Yeah, in like space helmets and spacesuits. Things that have no context whatsoever on the show.
I just googled it, so like I'm watching all these clips.
Or
Oh my
when they have
god.
to run through all the doors and like the maze and get out the other side, but there'd be like random guys in there that would like throw them in mud or like there was always
Yeah.
Door Jam. That was Door Jam was that game. Then.
I remember there was one. I'll distinctly remember this forever. It's girl goes out there and it's in the middle of a mud pit, and then you just see a soccer ball get launched like 800 feet into the air, It just comes down and just drills her in the face.
That was like in the opening of every episode. In the opening of every episode. And I remember when it happened in the episode, they replay it like 5 or 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
Super slow-mo.
Oh, just the worst crunching sounds every time, too.
To the Spike Network.
Yeah, shout out to the Spike Network, man.
Yes.
I think
Thank you, early 2000s
That would
television.
not exist today.
What was?
No.
Didn't they have like a Weird Ways to Die show?
Yeah,
Thousand Ways to Die.
Yes.
voiced by Ron Perlman.
Or
Mm-hmm.
even Mansers. Do you remember Mansers? It was just
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
it was just like how many? It's like how long would I not have to jerk off for my balls to explode? And the announcer would say it like that.
Literally, I'm not even kidding. Last Saturday, a couple days ago, I watched a couple episodes of Deadliest Warrior, and that was
Yes.
The show is so
Yes.
unhinged.
right.
Dude, that show was awesome.
Don't go back and watch it. It does not hold up. It is so.
It's
ridiculous.
very.
No.
It's My lady was not into it as much as I was.
There has never been a doctor on a
are
show who has
you
been less
watching?
valuable to the importance of the show. They would like blow somebody up with a grenade. He'd be like, "That guy definitely died." He'd be like, looking at the statistics of the blast, he definitely wouldn't survive. And if he did, he'd bleed out. He'd be like, "You're holding his arm that's not attached to his body." I promise. He like stick his whole hand inside like a hole made from an axe and be like, "This guy definitely didn't make it." No shit, dude.
Yeah.
My girl was literally horrified as they shot the projectile at the neck of one of the dummies, and literally their like medical analyst guy just goes, "Oh, he's definitely dead. Yeah."
No
All right.
As loud as he possibly could. He's definitely dead. Yeah.
That could have been anyone. It could have been any one of us, and we all could have come to the same conclusions he did when someone died.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude, I distinctly remember being like, was it Deadliest? Didn't they do like Deadliest Weapon too, or was that like just involved? Like they would go.
They do the weapons against each other,
Yeah.
and sometimes the guys would get real mad at each other. Like,
Oh yeah.
it would be like.
Yeah, because it'd be like an expert from each one, and they'd be like, "No, mine's better."
Native American tribe versus like an African tribe, and they would get like,
Yeah.
super heated about it. And like the one guy would walk over and pat the other guy in the back and be like, "Let's see your boomerang do that, dude." And like, and you're like, "What?"
Now I have to go back and watch just to see how horrible it is.
It's horrible. And like I just remember them having like a Russian like KGB guy on, and him just like him being like, "I don't really care." They'd be like, "Well, you missed like 4 guys out there." And he'd be like, "I don't care about accuracy. I'm just going to do it as fast as possible." And you're like, "Well, it's kind of the whole point of the assignment." And then they'd send out like an IRA guy out there with a flamethrower, just like nuking dudes with a flamethrower, and they'd be like, "That guy's definitely dead." Yeah, he's still on fire. Like
He's on fire. He's. If he isn't dead, he wishes he was.
Still alive. I'm just really badly burned.
yeah, and then you hit him with a nail bomb afterwards. Yes, he's dead. I promise he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. He's a dead person.
And then you
IRA
do the
don't
simulation at the end, which was clearly just like made up. And the dude would be like,
Oh yeah.
I don't. If you watch real close, they had the one guy who was like the computer guy, and he'd be like, "I'm gonna run it through my expert simulation."
Oh,
and
Yeah.
it's just an Excel document. I swear to Christ, it was just an Excel document.
Good.
It would be like,
cells
it'd be like power 15, and you're like, out of what? What are you even punching in to this Excel document? If you go
Just
watch
put in like an RNG, like random number generator. Like, well, we'll see which one comes
just
up.
an Excel document, like that. Oh God, that music video from the '90s of or the early 2000s of Ja Rule and Kelly Rowland, where she's like, "My man never texted me back," and when you look at her phone, she's just like texting into an Excel document, and I'm like, I think I know why he never answered you. Probably because
Yeah.
you sent your text via Excel. Like Excel's good. It's a good ad. It's
It
a
is
good program, but like
8:36.
you got to use it for what you need to use it for.
Get the remote.
I've been dealing with that lately.
Yeah, Deadliest Warrior. I love that show in high school. Does not hold up.
God bless the Spike Neck.
I apologize. I actually have to scoot because I need to get.
Don't worry,
this
we'll carry on
one
without you.
to bed.
We'll be here when you get back tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh my goodness.
All right, gentlemen. Top Dad out.
All right, he's gone. Now we can talk garbage about him.
Yeah.
Right? God, he's the worst.
Finally.
Well, now my setup doesn't work. I guess let you know that my first rendering, we didn't have a 4-person layout. My first rendering was spot on. Although I couldn't find
Rad, you're big rig now, and I'm both Rad Dad and Papa Bear.
right. Boom.
I'm
And
I'm
the
so
PR
glad my
finisher.
one doesn't work. Ah, man, we've had such a busy 2 weeks of wrestling, and it's been insane. Like we haven't done much live content just because we've put being a wrestling fan first.
As you should.
Yeah, right. Because being a dad, being a wrestling fan, and then doing a podcast
Being a
in that
fan
order.
is so much part of it. Like, not to die, I don't want to delve too, bring this up too much, but it's the whole argument that's going on the internet right now of if you're a wrestler, should you take photos with other wrestlers, or is that mark behavior? We're all marks. That's part of it.
And
I
even
also
as
think
a
there's a way to
fan,
do,
I'm weird about that.
there's also a way to do it. There's ways to not do it and ways to do it. If I'm in WWE as an extra, I'm not going to be going up to guys and being can I get a photo? That's weird.
Yeah.
And that's not the time and place for it.
It feels like it's taking advantage of the situation.
But if you're sharing a locker room with a guy, and it's someone I don't think you should take a photo just to take a photo. Rad can tell you, we've been in locker rooms before where I haven't. There's been really cool people that I won't.
Yeah.
But if there's somebody that had an impact on me, or is a reason I'm wrestling or something like that, I'm gonna take that photo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Personally, I
sometimes
like
for me, it's I like just a handshake and just saying hi to a person and just having a conversation. I think there's something to that as well.
I used to be like that to an extent, but man, when you watch so many guys, when you read so much about guys that you're just never going to see again, it's really tough to not have photos. When you go back and you're man, I don't have any photos of this person.
Right. That being said, we had a friend, High Voltage Omar, who was on AEW Dark last year. And after he had his Dark match, he was in such a good mood. He saw Sting walking by just randomly, but he looked a little busy. So all he did was he just walked up and said, "Hey, do you mind if I shake your hand? I just want to thank you for being an inspiration to me." He was like, "Sure, man. Yeah, no problem. Did you have your match?" Yeah. They had a 30-second conversation, and then he walked away.
Yeah.
And that meant the world to him, and Sting seemed to appreciate it. But he didn't need a photo. He personally didn't need a photo. Just that experience was more than enough.
And I love wrestling photos of something. I like taking photos of wrestlers as a fan. So I do a thing now. If I'm in a locker room with somebody who I have a photo with from when I was a fan, I go up and explain to them that I have that photo from 10, 15 years ago, and I want to get another one and try to recreate it, and then I'll put them both together. And everyone I've ever told that has been super high. They've all been "Yo, you gotta tag me in that. That's awesome."
Even low key somehow.
Yeah, even low key, noted miserable human, loved it.
Who was miserable that night. Was super thrilled to take a photo with you.
I mean, that's just it though. I'm not really consider myself a shy person, but I do get I don't want to be. I always don't want to be that guy. If that makes any sense.
No,
I don't want to be. Because the wrestling
not,
community does have a lot of people who are very, so we say, forceful and kind of
all about time and place. I think that's really.
I'll also tell you the fact that we can tell the difference between an actual fan and a weirdo creep most of the time.
Oh, all the time.
We call them the League of Supervillains.
I just usually refer my dad always referred to the weirdest of the weird wrestling fans as mutants. So that's always what I think of in my head when, because all I remember is one time we went to a show that was on, a Jewish holiday. So there was there always were these certain fans that my dad's just well, no Jewish people here today. A lot of mutants though. And I just lost my goddamn mind, and I was that was the most random thing you could have said.
My gosh, dude. I mean, like we had Circle Expo was in Indianapolis, which is like 2 hours away from us. So we got to go to that. And I mean, walking into a room where you're seeing, you know, freaking Brutus the Barber Beefcake, the Tonka, I mean, Demolition. I mean, just guys that, I grew up Saturday mornings watching, it's just, I was just fanboying out so bad. And I mean, part of it was just like, part of it was to me seeing them and talking to them. I like the pictures and all that, but it's, and I part of me does feel bad because like these a lot of these guys make their living that way. Part of
Yeah.
me by that, and I wish I had money to give to everybody because I appreciate them all, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's $30 here, $40 there, $60 there adds up pretty quick.
My thing too is usually if I am taking a photo, I will explain like why, like I'm even asking. Like I usually have like if I'm asking, there's a reason for it.
Yeah, it's never. Oh, just take a selfie with me. Like he'll
Yeah.
tell you the
Like I'll
story.
explain like, and guys usually appreciate that because it shows that like I'm like not just being like a mark or like a fanboy.
Yeah.
Like, one of the notable ones I remember was like we were in a locker room with Matt Seidel, and the whole night he was kind of on his phone and just like he was clearly like working on like booking stuff and like flights and blah 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 because that stuff never ends when you're that level.
Yeah.
And I waited till like near the end of the night and I was like, oh, or it was like intermission maybe. It was later in the show. It wasn't like when he first got there. And that's another thing. Like don't just like bombard a guy as soon as he walks in. That's weird. But like I told him I was like, oh, would you mind if I got a selfie? It's like the first indie show I ever went to, you main evented it. Like so it's a really cool like full circle moment for me. And he appreciated he like asked like what match it was, like what show it was. And then later like unprompted went out and watched our match on the show because I had started a conversation with him. And when we came back, he was like I didn't ask him to do that. He just did it because like we had a good interaction. And then he was like marking over our match, like telling like unprompted, just like, unasked for telling us the stuff he loved about the match. And like, yeah.
I mean, my complete experience with like professional wrestling and like the kind of this iteration, I want to call it, since we've been kind of doing our Dead World Order thing, has been nothing but positive. I mean, mutants and everything aside, everybody is just, everybody's there for the same purpose, and it's their love of this business, and it's brought a lot of positivity in my life, which you can't get enough of.
It does feel like it's constantly you're seeing news about fans are doing this guy's arguing about that. I feel like for us and for most people we know, it's 99% positive. I've never had to ban a single person from any Stepdads account ever. Like it's we've never had these problems.
Yeah, the good far out like the good stuff gets tweeted about and spreads less too because like nobody cares about spreading the good stuff.
Exactly.
People like drama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then some of it's valid and some of it is a little exaggerated, but like a lot of the stuff that it just shows that things still need to change, and that's good to be aware of. Like the Rick Steiner story is an important thing to be aware of. Like that was like, and I'm not surprised that someone said something. Him especially, like I don't really think that's that surprising of a thing. The thing that was more surprising to me was that nobody said anything. Like I thought we had progressed to the point
then and there.
That like some of the other like that some of the other guys from his era would have been like, dude, stop.
STFU, buddy.
Yeah. But then the good comes out of it, and you see the guys that like stand up, like Ricky Morton, and like you're like, okay, like that you got to look for the good stuff. That's the equivalent of the classic phrase of like always look for the helpers when there's a disaster. Like that's how you keep a good mind about it. Is like when something goes wrong, look for the helpers because that'll restore your faith in things.
Mm-hmm.
And good people seem to come out of the woodwork when those kind of situations come arise.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's more small-minded people who are going to be small-minded no matter what.
It's easy
People-
to focus on the negative. It's
Oh
it's
yeah,
a lot harder.
and there's always
to be
people
positive.
who are always going to move the goalpost because then people who are like, well, there's no video. It's like, but there's witnesses, and it happened in public. Like it's not like a thing. And even if there was a video, you'd have people who would go, well, we don't know what happened before that video started. So like, there's always going to be that. You can't please everybody, and there's always
Right.
going to be
Like, and it doesn't matter. Like you just
all you could do. Yeah, all we could do is hope that we change any
make
person's
people
opinion
think before
when
you
we talk
speak.
about stuff.
Think before you speak, people. Think before you speak.
Like I make it very clear on my Twitter that like it's a safe space. Like you, like if somebody says something, I will call them out on it. Brad could tell you.
Yeah.
We have fans who watch GTS, and they'll. We had one the other day who like Rad was like, oh, I'll beat this guy, like, well, in character,
Yeah,
clearly.
we have a Stepdads account. It's all in character.
Right.
And Rad's like, oh, I'll beat this guy if he steps to me. And the person's like, you must be our word if you think you're going to beat him. I'm going to send you for like a mental health check or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, don't do
say that.
Like, we're in character. Like, don't, like, it's a thing. Like, don't say that.
Yeah.
And then he like doubled down on it. And I'm like, okay, well, now you're blocked. Like,
Right. And not only do we not respond to that or acknowledge it, but all other GTS wrestlers who were tagged in that thread
Well,
also
like
blocked him, didn't
Follow the same
acknowledge him.
suit. Yeah.
And
yeah, they all stood with me on my feeling about
don't
it.
play that
It's like,
game.
the only way you change that stuff is to let people know it's not acceptable.
Yep.
We're the three of us are in a very weird privilege. Like we have a very weird privilege of being middle class white guys.
Yeah.
So like theoretically, we don't. Very few things are ever going to affect us in a way where like we have to say something or we have to be proactive. But that's the situations where we have to use that privilege to say it. Like because like we could obviously avoid that forever and just never have to worry about it. But like
turn a blind eye. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have the privilege to, and other people don't. But it means more when we do, and like we should use that for that. Not to go off topic and make this like
no. But when you said small-mindedness, man, and I feel like that's a huge problem, and people don't take it into account other people's perspective, and perspective is a huge word for me. I that's the thing is if everybody took into account that perspective or that other person's perspective or that group's perspective, you might think before you say something.
That walk a mile in other people's shoes.
Exactly. And it's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment and get emotional. I myself have been, emotional and, spoken out of turn, but it's trying to be better about that and trying to be a positive influence because the world doesn't have enough of that. Negativity is everywhere and positivity, is a lot harder to find.
And
so
there are people who want to just like cancel people when they make an honest mistake. And like all you could do is like own up to your mistakes when you make them and try to learn from them. Like every mistake, if you never fail, you never learn.
Jay Briscoe's a great example of that.
Yes. And sadly, unfortunately, we're in one of the saddest things about our culture is that like the headline is always the big failure, and there's never a equal headline for the success afterwards or the learning afterwards.
Yes.
So there'll be like a big headline about, and it'll never get corrected. So you had people who were still anti-Jay. Isn't that guy the guy who hated gays? I mean, he very clearly worked to not be that person, and open up his mind, and live.
Yeah, like he did, and the thing is, he went to improve himself, but he didn't like put it out for the world.
Yeah.
So nobody knew about it, so they just assumed that he's this, this way or this small-minded, whatever. But he, educated himself.
You had people like Effie coming out and being like, "No, this guy was like he would give him the shirt off his back, and I'm the most outwardly spoken gay person in wrestling." And you have people who would be like, "Well, how do you like? Why? People who just want to hate to hate." Like I don't think cancel culture is the thing that people think it is. Sometimes it's just called the consequences of your own actions. But people want to just look at everything as I mean, not to use like as black or white. And you just have to, it's work to look at all these situations on their own individually and make your individual, instead of just blanket being like, well, nobody deserves to be canceled or everybody deserves to be canceled. There's no, you got to just
Yeah,
like use your
it's human
brain.
to make mistakes, and
Yeah.
it's moronic to not learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
But speaking of Briscoes, those guys were also part of that Ring of Honor group there.
So their return as a tag team was the first ROH show I ever went to. It was the 4th anniversary show. They returned unannounced to open the show, and they came out and destroyed like Tony Mamaluke and Sal Renoro and God.
They
Kid
came out to
Cosby.
Leonard Skinnerd.
Yes. Give me back my bullets. Great
Yep.
entrance team.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That blew my mind though, like because I was so used to like, wrestlers having their own original music or whatever, and then you go to an indie show and they're playing like, oh shit, they're
Yeah,
playing this
the
song.
themes in ROH they all slapped. They were awesome in that era.
Wasn't Brian Danielson wasn't Final Countdown?
Final Countdown. Samoa Joe for a bit was his the champ is here LL Cool J one was my favorite. And then it was Mama Said Knock You Out, I think, after that.
Yeah.
Those are some awesome
Them
Irish
Airborne.
Beautiful People. Austin Aries was the other Marilyn Manson one.
Personal Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
Personal
good.
Jesus. Oh wow.
Real banger.
Nigel McGuinness came out to Oasis.
God, Nigel was so good back then too, man.
He was.
Nigel's like the best wrestler to never be in WWE ever.
Right?
He was amazing. He was my favorite when I was watching at that time.
And how good was it to hear him back on commentary again, man? His voice is like velvet.
Yep.
I appreciate that Tony's trying really hard to make Ring of Honor feel like its own thing.
Ring of Honor. Yeah, no, I and I've even like read dirt sheets or whatever saying Nigel's, maybe considering it might not be done in the ring. And it'd be cool to see him get his one, quote unquote, one last match.
Yeah, I can't remember his he had the medical thing. I remember in TNA that like,
yeah,
a shame. Yeah, those eras, like anyone they'd bring in randomly was like entertaining. Like you get Doug Williams would come into ROH every once in a while, or like the Pro Wrestling Noah guys or the Dragon Gate guys, Kenta, Marufuji. See, like we were on a show with Marufuji, and like I had to get a selfie of Marufuji because I was like, right? I watched that dude in ROH and like 17 years or however many years earlier, 15 years earlier, and I was like, that's the coolest thing.
It's all these guys I was talking about. I seen Sergeant Slaughter and I felt like a little kid because that was the one, and I didn't get an autograph or anything, man.
We saw Sergeant Slaughter once through a car window as he drove away because we were late for the show.
Yeah. But I mean, like I watched. He's part of GI Joe, and he was, he was a great heel too. So,
the most like mark out little kid moment I ever had meeting a wrestler was, and this was before I was a wrestler, so definitely it probably hit harder, was meeting Bret Hart.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like I literally like I like couldn't form words. Like I went up to meet him, and I will never forget this because I wanted to say like how important he was to like my growing up, and I just looked him dead in the face and I shook his hand and I was like, "You were my childhood," and that was it. That was what I said.
Did you take a photo with him though?
I did.
There you go.
Boom.
It was because he was doing like a tour for like his book. It was when he put his book out.
That's kind of how I felt. That's how I felt meeting Ricky Morton, because obviously it's a huge deal to me, but it wasn't as difficult as I expected it to be, because like the whole time we're just hanging out with Ricky Morton, I'm like, it was almost like, oh, this isn't even real. This is not even happening for real. So like I was just numb to it.
Yeah.
But
like afterwards, I was like, "Holy shit! I just took a Canadian destroyer from Ricky Morton."
I can't believe the Ricky Morton did a
but
Canadian
also-
destroyer.
But and in the moment, I was just like, "Yes, sir. Yeah, no problem. Yes, sir." And I remember looking at you and saying, "I don't even feel nervous right now."
But
Just
also,
it was so mind blowing to me.
It probably helped that you couldn't have gone worse than the first time you met Ricky Morton.
No,
Let's hear.
that's
Do
true.
tell,
I did
sir.
forget. I try to block that from my memory, much like Jeff Jarrett. I try to block it from my memory.
We were on a show with them, and they had just gotten put into the Hall of Fame. So they had their rings on, and instead of shaking hands with everybody in the locker room, they were fist bumping everybody because they had the rings on. And Rad just like stick shift Ricky Morton's hand.
I wasn't paying attention, and I turned around, and he's like, "Hey, kid," and he put his hand out, and I just and I took my head back, and I just kind of stared like my life was over, and with no hesitation, he just kept waiting. And then I fist bumped him. He went, "Okay," and he went and put his boots on. Like he could have been nicer about it, but I felt like I just wanted to go die now.
You feel that way when you like fist bump or do that to regular people, but then someone that means that
The only time in my life I've done that.
Hero. Like no joke, Rad's favorite wrestler of all time, not Jeff Jarrett, Ricky Morton.
And you got to take a Canadian destroyer from him. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's like for me, like a lot of my favorite guys, like one of my favorite wrestlers, like the guys that I love are guys that like I've been in locker rooms with. So like it's so weird at this point. Like if one of my favorite wrestlers in the whole world is Kenny Omega, but like I have stories with. I used to talk on MySpace with Kenny Omega and play like Street Fighter on Xbox with him, like back in like 2007.
Huh.
We used to talk to Will Ospreay on a wrestling forum in like 2012 or 13 or something like that.
Until like more recently, I remember tagging Kenny Omega on Facebook and him just like responding, and people in my comments being like, "Dude, what?"
No,
or like,
I'm still amazed by that one time we were literally just walking down the hallway, and Orange Cassidy was on the show, and he literally he was on his phone texting, and as we walk, because we're literally about to go out, we have our belts on, the music's gonna hit, we're walking down the hallway to go out the entranceway, and he stops us. He looks up, he goes, "Oh, you guys are the Stepdads, right?" And it threw us off so much. I think all we said was like, "Yeah." And he go and in all like literally in character. He might as well have been in character. He just goes, "Huh, you guys are fucking funny," and then just walked away. And then we're just gonna sit there like, I guess we gotta do this match now. I don't remember the match at all. I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
I just forgot everything.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the other day I was in Burlington Coat Factory and they had AEW action figures for $6.
What?
And, yeah, so go to your Burlington Coat Factory if you like. It was literally like 6 of the like they had like one each of a bunch of different AEW action figures for $6.
Yeah, going tomorrow.
And the only one I bought because it was the only one I cared about was I got an Orange Cassidy action figure for $6.
Perfect.
But they had I looked through all of them because I was curious. It was Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, Trent, Chris Statlander, Chris Jericho, and Moxley. They had.
Nice. So that's a whole series with the best friends.
Yeah.
I want the whole series with the Dark Order.
See, those are guys that like I used to photograph in Chikara, like Uno and Stupefied and those guys. Like it's so weird to me. Like anytime. The other day I was literally in I went to a GameStop nearby with like a friend, and I was looking at like through their stuff, and they had like the Kenny Omega Street Fighter stuff in there.
Oh God, I want that so bad. Them and and the Young Bucks one, man, that was so good.
And I literally looked at my friend and I was like, it is the weirdest thing ever when you walk into a GameStop and you see an action figure for someone you know in real life. Like, it's strange.
Like, how have you guys not looked into getting your own action figure made yet? Like,
maybe I have my own Funko Pop. Somebody made for me.
That's pretty cool.
It's in my old backyard wrestling gear, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, because I mean, like for me, it was like even just a podcast. But I mean, if I was a wrestler, God, I couldn't imagine. I'd be going crazy because I mean, I'm making T-shirts, hats, posters, banners, all this stuff.
Even
Anything
just
I can
like
put my logo on, I'm making it.
having our own
Bugs. That was a big one. That was a big seller for us.
having our own stickers is the coolest thing. Like anytime somebody like has their our sticker on like their phone case or like their car or something, it's the
I
coolest
sent you
thing in
guys
the world.
stickers, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I
got
have
you.
one. It's in the room.
That's one of
If I
my
had-
favorite. One of my favorite things is people send me like they show our bumper sticker, or they'll go to. We had someone in Connecticut randomly take a photo of someone else's car, being like, "Look, there's Stepdad stickers on your car," and then that guy responded, "That's my car, Stepdad." Yeah, that was awesome.
I love it, man. That's like after our first interview, I went out. I mean, I made sure that I know it's not much because we have a pro wrestling T-shirt store too, but it's
Hey,
it's
every-
something, man. It's something to go to the PayPal every month or whatever.
It's all something.
Yeah. No, but you guys were like Eric said. I mean, you guys were one of our first interviews, and we had so much fun and a ball of laughs when you guys came on that we couldn't wait to do it again. We've kind of been doing it a little longer, so we kind of got our feet underneath us a little bit better, perhaps.
As we're
but,
sitting here, the three of us right now.
It happens. Like again, he's got a 7-year-old, and 2, he's got a puppy. So
We also like it's full open invitation. Like if we could make it work time wise, we'll hop on anytime. Like
absolutely.
Just want to talk about whatever.
Yeah,
You need a filling co-host. Let us know. Jeez.
That's kind of been our thing, man. Is like again, we're wrestling fans first, so it's the opportunity to get to talk to guys that we enjoy watching, and it's amazing to us that you guys take the time out of your schedule to actually talk to a couple guys. I mean, we don't have a huge following or anything like that. We just we like to talk wrestling, and we're fans, and it seems to go easy. So
we love doing like podcasts or whatever. We'll talk about whatever. Like we have certain stories that usually end up in like every podcast, and then there's other stuff that we'll just go off the cuff and just have fun with it.
Yeah, you just never know where the conversation is going to end up. Sometimes it's about wrestling. Sometimes it's about Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had some weird ones. We had one. The guy asked what our Mount Rushmore of Batman movies was, and that was like an hour-long conversation on its own.
Okay,
we've had the most random stuff.
What's number one for each of you guys?
Right now, it's the Batman.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
the latest.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the best. It's the most faithful adaptation of Batman from the comics.
Yeah. It was.
It's also, I think, no one has nailed the combo of. I mean, and obviously it's early Batman, but like, no one has simultaneously been as good a Bruce Wayne and a Batman as Robert Pattinson has. I think he really nailed both, and he may not be the best at either, like the top, but he's like top 2 or 3 as both.
But just I mean, and that was like a storyline or a timeline that hasn't previously been covered. Like we've done like young Bruce Wayne. We've done, already in the grind Bruce Wayne, but kind of have that, those beyond or not beyond years, but those early years was definitely it was amazing.
I mean,
I have a special connection to the Michael Keaton.
Yes,
totally understandable.
I love Batman Returns. So
my stepdad did the artwork for the Taco Bell promotional cups and all the stuff.
Yes.
I would like unironically, I do love Batman and Robin. Like I'm not even joking when I say it would be on my Mount Rushmore.
The greatest toy commercial ever made.
It's so campy and it's the best. It's the closest thing to an Adam West sequel that they've ever done.
I feel like if you because I did this recently, if you explain a scene to somebody, which I explained Mr. Freeze trying to teach everyone to dance or whatever, I just explained the scene to someone who'd never seen the movie and they died laughing. And I was like, if you took it into the context of it literally being like almost a remake of an Adam West episode or something, It's really funny.
Remember, those guys had like bang and pow popping up on the screen
Yeah.
as they threw punches.
People
You know
just
what I mean? It
weren't
was
ready
campy.
for a campy Batman movie
Yeah.
in that era.
Yeah.
I still argue if you ever seen Street Fighter the movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme,
Yeah.
it is a parody of 80s action movies. And if you look at it that way, it's actually a great movie. It's not just good, it's a great parody of 80s movies.
I guess because
nobody
everybody
wanted
was
to take it that
expecting
way. And
everybody
so
was expecting more video. I mean, it's obviously not as bad as a Super Mario Brothers live action movie, but you know, I was expecting the video game and didn't quite get that. So
I mean,
I need to
I
go back and
understand.
if you
that
try to take it
perspective.
seriously, you're gonna have a bad time. Once you
Yeah.
realize that American hero Guile is being played by Austrian Jean-Claude Van Damme with an accent, you just and American Commando Cammy is being played by Australian Kylie Minogue, just give up. Like just enjoy it and have fun.
I mean, they have bison.
None of it makes sense.
Come on.
They don't even understand comedy in the movie because Zangief does something that clearly is like should be like the rule of threes of like you tease a joke 3 times and then twice and the third time it happens. They just tease it once and then do it later. Like it's so stupid. It's like it fails on every level. But Raul Julia goes out there and kills it for no reason. Delivers one of the hardest lines in any movie ever.
Yep.
Of when I came to your village, it was the most important day in your life. For me, it was Tuesday.
Everyone knows that line.
Because everybody's used it in their own version.
And then he's flying around on cables while he's dying of cancer. Like, it is the craziest movie.
Huh. Which such a like, you know, esteemed actor for such like a you know,
and apparently he loved it.
For a video game role, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty good M. Bison, but Vince McMahon also makes a pretty good M. Bison.
Vince McMahon looks like if they were doing a crossover movie of like Walt Disney and El Chapo. Like if Walt Disney took over a Mexican drug cartel, that's Vince right now.
I really feel the mustache is a sign that the Mr. McMahon character is gone. This is the real Vince we're finally seeing. He doesn't have to pretend to be a character.
Yeah, it's Vince's evil telenovela twin showing up.
it's so disappointing.
McMahon.
Like if he blew up in 2007 and they actually wrote him off, he would have had the mustache a month later.
I
feel like that's accurate. Yeah.
I wish he would have gone
finally
full out.
kicked the slippers off.
Yeah.
He went with the John Waters thin mustache, which is like the second worst mustache.
He died too. He died
second
black.
worst.
If he would have showed up with the Hitler mustache, I would have so much more respect for him.
Oh my god.
Because the only other human who's ever tried
Jordan
that mustache, obviously Charlie Chaplin has it, but like he was before Hitler. The only person who's tried it since Hitler was Michael Jordan, and even he couldn't make it work. So if Vince McMahon tried to make it work, I would have so much respect. I mean, he's already evil. He might as well just own it and rock the Hitler mustache.
Isn't that crazy how one person can ruin an entire mustache style?
Yeah. Michael Jordan couldn't save it.
Yeah, Michael Jordan couldn't do it then.
Michael Jordan is an asshole, but like,
yeah, true that.
Respect it.
You know who could have saved it? Bob Barker.
Yeah,
Bob Barker.
Like,
he's old enough. He could have got it.
The
Fred
only
Rogers.
people who could save it now is like if like John Cena or The Rock did it.
Oh no.
No, after Black Adam, nobody trusts The Rock with anything.
No. I'll say his stock's down.
Yeah, that's over. We gotta go make another Jumanji movie now.
Oh man, what a time to be alive we're living in with.
All right. Well, guys, if I don't cut us off, we'll talk all night. And
we will.
This is true.
4:30 in the morning comes hella early for your boy.
Brad, I expect my microphone back.
Oh, this is mine now.
Yeah.
Finders, keepers, losers. You.
Ownership is 9/10 of the law.
That's right.
Yeah, the other 10th of the law is me murdering my downstairs roommate.
I know where you live. It's upstairs.
Well, like you said, anytime have us back. We're ready to rock and roll,
guys. Thank you so much. I look forward to this since we set it up. like I said, tomorrow's my birthday, and this is an early birthday present to me. I really enjoy.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm an even older man tomorrow, so.
You're only as old as you feel, and I feel like I'm like 68. So
Well, I always say, I can still drink with the best of them. It's just the recovery part that I suck at now.
here's the thing. Every time you get up, do you go, ugh?
Oh yeah.
Well, then you're already old. You can't. There's only 2 levels of old, and you're already on the other side. So at this point, who cares?
Yeah. I am old. And Eric reminds me of that often. I got 10 years on him, and it's I have less than my wife, and she often reminds me of that.
GTS fans have their own Wikipedia page, and they just guessed at my age.
How?
And my Wikipedia birth date was May 9th, 1982. And I was like, not even close. I am so much younger than that, and it hurt my soul. So,
but how
the
many
internet
times
thinks I'm 40 and I'm in my early 30s?
Yeah. How many
So
times
that.
does like 35-year-old guys come up and they go, "Well, you guys are the veterans, right? You're the stepdad, so you ring general for us." And I'm like, bro, and at the time I'm like, bro, I'm 28.
It's a gimmick.
Yeah. I met a girl on Tinder and she called me grandpa. So there's that.
My body tells me I'm 55.
Hey, I'll have a 22-year-old. My oldest will be 22 in 4 days, so I could be a papaw at any point. You never know. I'm looking forward to it. My wife's scared as hell, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
grandbabies.
That's truly the last step to feeling old, I feel like.
Grandbabies. I gotta buy a pickup truck because every good papaw has got a pickup truck, right?
Oh, you gotta buy one of those like white minivans with like the automatic sliding door.
Absolutely not.
Astro van.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's
I just put a kicker sub in the back of my car because that's how old I feel.
And guess what? It's gonna be replaced by a kid seat when you have grandkids.
Nope.
Oh man,
that's a good thing about grandkids. You just give them back.
Yeah, they have an expiration date. You hand them, like they're not yours forever. I once said, my dad said this to me, and I use it regularly now. It's very, when you think about it, it's horrible in context, but because he said it to me, which is, I never wanted to have kids until I was sure nothing else good could happen in my life.
Jeez. You know what my dad used to say to me? He would say, you must have your mom's good looks because I still have mine. There you go.
And they
would never say that to me. He loved me.
I'm pretty not to get morbid, but I'm pretty sure my dad once said, "I hate everyone. I just hate you and your mother way less than everyone else." I think that it's a real thing he said many times.
Every time my dad calls me now, it's to be like, it's always just like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know I put all my death benefits in your name," and I'm like, "Sick!" It's a great way to
gnarly, bro.
Yeah.
What do I say to that, Dad?
Yeah.
Thanks.
The other day we went out to his birthday was this past weekend, and he's like, we went out to celebrate, and he's just like, "Yeah, I got arthritis in my foot, and I can't walk, and I'm probably gonna die." And I'm like, "Cool, happy birthday, Dad."
So,
how old are you now?
Want another margarita?
Yeah. How old are you now? 69? Nice.
Giggity.
Yeah.
Nice.
I can't say much, man. My dad is a much more positive person. He's the person I try to be. So he always says, if you don't know the way the story's going to go, why not make up a positive end?
My dad taught me a lot. Like, he gave me a lot of great advice that I still follow. He's just like, we just disagree on a lot of things now. Like, and I think that's common. I feel like that's, as you get older, you move more to the right. Probably because one leg gets shorter than the other. I don't know. Your fucking ears. You ever seen an old person? They have the biggest ears and nose you've ever seen in your life.
They never stop growing.
Well, when their head starts to shrink too. So like they're just all ears and nose. Like you ever see like Mel Brooks now?
It's just all ears and
He
nose.
just
That's
looks
just
like
all
the
it
cover
is.
of a Mad magazine now.
He looks like the banker from Harry Potter.
Oh, ooh, that is
Brutal.
that may be anti-Semitic. I'm unsure.
No. Whoa.
No, well, because
What happened to the
because
positivity
J.K.
we're
Rowling
talking about,
created it to
Kruger?
be
Come on.
because it was originally created to be awful.
Sounds like we've officially canceled this podcast as well. Once again, another business has died thanks to the
I've said way
Stepdads.
worse. Don't worry.
I told you I could do it in under 2 hours.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. All right, guys.
Yeah. And on that
again-
note, fuck J.K. Rowling.
And Disco Inferno.
Yeah.
And Disco Inferno.
I hope they
mainly
cast Disco Inferno for that new Harry Potter miniseries that they're going to do for 10 years, so I could doubly not watch it.
You don't like Harry Potter?
I
Did
just
even
don't
play
like her.
Just like her. Well,
I just
yeah.
don't. If she never gets like, I'm not gonna burn my books. I still have the books, but like, I'm not gonna buy any new ones. Also, we don't need another show. Like, what are we doing?
it starts to feel like a money grab. It's kind of feel like how Star Wars is going, but I digress.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't watch everything, just what I choose. Anyway,
Yo, I've heard the Mandalorian's good though. So the new season, I haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting for it to finish.
I've watched the first episode and that's it. So
the show's great.
I'm waiting for. I just want to binge it. So just like let it, this time gated stuff. Give it to me all at once.
It's weird.
I like
All the side stuff of Star Wars is way better than the main story, the main line now.
Also, if you guys haven't seen the Super Mario Brothers movie yet,
it's on the list.
The new
go
one,
see it twice.
Yeah, let's check it out.
It's on the list.
And don't forget, watch. Both of you need to watch Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun on Netflix.
Yes. Well, I haven't watched the other one they talked about. You should leave or whatever.
Leave. That one's weird as hell.
Yeah.
I'll fully admit it's super weird humor.
Very weird. Love it.
You never know what's gonna catch your eye, though. You know what I mean? Like what was that Black Mirror?
Oh, love Black Mirror. Oh man, we're not gonna leave now.
I didn't watch every episode, but some of them, like, because when I worked third shift, I would fall asleep to shows, and gosh darn it, here we go. BJ Whitmer sighting.
It's the closest thing to like a new Twilight Zone, and it's really good, and it really makes you think a lot.
Yeah, there was a couple of them that were just great.
Nothing. It's not even the scary stuff that screws me up on that show. It's like the episode where like they all sit down at a party and they're like, the guy's like, I had a bad meeting, and they're like, oh, just play it on the TV. We'll all watch it and judge it. And I'm like, nope, that's uncomfortable. Don't like that. Like that, you could just like watch your memories, and everyone can just, and that's like entertainment. Like that's weird to me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's like putting yourself out on live TV.
Currently, I'm rewatching Gotham.
Oh man,
we're talking Batman.
I loved Gotham. I got to meet a lot of the cast from that. I got to meet.
I'm very jealous.
We've wrestled guys that were doing stunts on that show the whole time through. Yeah.
I got to meet the guy who played Oswald Cobblepot and the guy who played Bruce Wayne. I can't remember the name.
The kid, David Mazouz.
David, yeah.
And Robin Lord Taylor.
Yes. And
some of the best depictions of villains ever from in live action are in that show.
I loved his Oswald Cobblepot.
His Oswald was great. Corey Michael Smith's Riddler was really good. I really liked the origin. I thought that was really cool.
Yes, the love story tangled in that and his origin story.
Yeah. Hugo Strange, BD Wong as Hugo Strange was incredible.
Perfect casting.
Yes.
They didn't do. I liked the origin for Freeze that they did. They just didn't do much with him afterwards. But his origin was really good with the white. Like that was really awesome.
Selena Kyle.
Yeah, she looked perfect for that role.
I mean, might be my favorite Catwoman.
Also, Alfred was awesome in that show. We got badass Alfred, which was cool.
Yes.
And
ex-military Alfred, like
Jim
on it, man.
Yeah, there was so much. Zaz was awesome in that show. Like, I love that show, and that show was campy and dark at the same time.
And they took
Like,
a
yeah.
lot of material from the comics. A lot.
Yes. Like
Yeah, that's
somebody was like,
awesome,
"Oh, the show
man.
is
Like,
just dark," and I'm like, "No, you literally have Oswald show up at Wayne Manor to blow up Azrael with a rocket launcher. We're gonna say that's not campy. That's campy.
Yeah,
dude, it was
cool.
and what's weird is I don't find a lot of people that were like watch that show.
So it's funny. I was into it, and Rad had given up on it after the first season because the first season was very hit or miss.
Yeah,
Man,
it was
Mostly miss.
villain of the
Yeah.
week style. Didn't
Like the
care.
only stuff worth it from the first season was like the Penguin stuff and like the mob stuff. And the Cameron Monaghan Joker episode where he is his first episode. That's like the only
oh,
season
him
one
him
stuff that
him
mattered.
as the Joker or whatever was
It was awesome.
beautiful.
hmm
Awesome.
That show was really good.
Even what's her face? Shit,
Jada Pinkett
Mrs.
Smith?
Will Smith.
Yeah,
Jada Pinkett.
she was a little much at times in the first season, but she was also really good at times too. Like,
Mhm.
I love that they did the mob stuff. I love that they had Falcone and Maroni. That was awesome. Like,
Mhm.
The Barbara storyline was really interesting. Like the way
Yes.
they like that was a good show. I was always,
you made me want to go back and watch it again.
it's still a good show. I just started season 3, my rewatch. Oh, season 3, Mad Hatter. That's the best version of the Mad Hatter that's ever been done.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the best version of Jervis Tetch there's ever been. Like, it's not even close. What a good show.
I feel like it really did. It got better as it went along. Like you said, it started out kind of villain of the week, and that's what kind of lost me with the Flash and some of those other superhero shows. Because I'm a big Flash fan, and like I was totally in
that
love
went
with it.
downhill. What, season 2.5, 3?
Yes,
That went downhill quick.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It turned into like a CW show.
The one
Happens
guy
to
I
all of
really
them.
liked in the Flash was what's his name? Firestorm. That dude.
Yeah.
I thought he had I thought he had a fun little
Amel's other brother, Stephen
Yeah.
Amel's brother.
the other Amel.
The other Amel.
I liked him in that show. But yeah, that show it was very hit or miss again.
And they covered like really cool storylines and stuff like that, but it just and the fact they had crossed over with the DC, what the heck is his name from the movies universe, was really cool. But yeah,
No, the thing I especially loved with Gotham too is like they'd have like random newer villains show up for like an episode or two and just like they had like the doll maker on the island and like obviously that's not like canon for like how they would because they're still villains in that, but like I liked how they utilized them. Like the one time they had like Flamingo show up and like like that was really creepy and like he like tried to eat the one officer's face. Like he was only in one episode, but it was memorable. Like I like that they did stuff like that. It was really cool.
I think for me, like, because I grew up watching the animated series, so like anything close to that, that was close to like live action, kind of that version of Batman.
And I never mind a show if they do something that's kind of off book, as long as it looks like they're still like they're not doing it just because like they're like, oh, I'm using this character and just using their name to do whatever. Like it was clear that they still cared and like they just like it almost felt like they were fans who were like fantasy booking their favorite villains.
It's like an interpretation as opposed to just we're gonna make up our own character and call it the Riddler.
Yeah, it's like, okay, what if the Riddler was Dexter? Like that's what it was. Like he works in the police station and like you know what I mean? Like that was kind of like the vibe it gave of like I liked that. That was cool.
So many more layers and so many more, so much it fleshed that character out even more.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then like some of the like guest casting in that, like having Paul Rubens come back to be the Penguin's dad again was like to me. Like so much of that, or like their unique take on Firefly was cool. There had never been a female Firefly. It was a cool way of like doing because it's not a character that anyone like has super strong feelings with. Make it your own,
right?
Like I like that
when the Trickster comes back, or friggin' Mark Hamill as the Trickster in Flash. That's so cool.
Yes,
like, they use the continuity of the first show, but not really, but kinda.
And then brought the Flash from that show back as his father too.
Yeah.
Again, continuing on with the continuity.
I love nods like that. I really love it. And then
Well, I watched the original Flash show, and that's probably why I'm a Flash fan. Is that was on in the early '90s.
Yep.
So you must be really hyped for the movie then.
Not so much.
I'm hearing
yes and
great
no.
things. I'm hearing great things. That's all.
I again, I already said Michael Keaton Batman holds a special place in my heart. So, I am excited for that. I'm excited for kind of the movie adaptation of the storyline. So, yeah,
I'm just excited for right now. I'm just very excited for the next Pattinson Batman because like I really liked everyone in that, and like I thought they did some cool stuff, like modernizing it but making it their own. Like I like their take on the Riddler, like using like the dark web and anonymous and stuff to rile up people was like really cool idea. I liked. I Brad knows I was hyped. The other day I ran into the actor who played Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movie. He's a Devils fan, and he was like sitting like in my row at a game.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And like, so I was able to talk with him for a few minutes about it, and I was like fanboying out for like the fact that
Hold on,
using, like,
isn't that the guy from
Westworld?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd be freaking out too.
So like, but I was fanboying over Batman more than
yeah. Westworld went after like the first or second season. It kind of just got.
But he was one of the best parts of that show consistently.
But he was a great Commissioner Gordon though.
Yeah. Like I loved their like the whole like punch like the punch me until like the scene was like great. Like it was perfect.
All the best Batman stories, it's like a buddy cop, at least for a couple scenes. And that movie is all of buddy cop. It's great.
But yeah, I'll let you actually go now.
I love you guys.
We'll come back. We'll talk about the Flash. We'll talk about Gotham again.
With no further like explanation, just the Batman Mount Rushmore for me, the weirdest Mount Rushmore of Batmans you're ever gonna get. Batman and Robin, the Batman, the show Gotham, and Lego Batman.
Oh, Lego Batman was great.
That is good. All right. Are we doing movies or just Batman?
I'm just doing
Batman in general.
I just did Batman.
So I really like Keaton Batman, even though it's not really Batman. It's just a crazy person. The Batman, Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond, and I'll throw in Lego Batman as well. I really do like Lego Batman.
Damn.
Lego Batman's so fun. Like it's such a fun take, and it's still so accurate to the like. There's so many Easter eggs and there's so many nods.
Mine's gonna be Michael Keaton, animated series Batman. Kevin
Conroy is Batman.
Kevin Conroy, yeah. Probably Robert Pattinson, and I hate to say Christian Bale because maybe it's not even the Batman. It's just the movies and the feel of them. But
those movies are so weird to go back to. So like,
they're not Batman movies. I'm sorry. They're great action movies. They're not Batman stories.
They're Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Batman. Like, my biggest thing. I told this. So this will be the last thing I say. Legitimately, I will not go further.
We're from the Midwest. And you're from the mid New Jersey, so
yeah. Central Jersey exists. I rewatched because like I was never that big into Batman. Batman Begins okay. The third movie is not good. Batman, The Dark Knight. Like
Dark Knight is good because of the Joker, and that's
I know people
right?
still hold up The Dark Knight. I watched it recently, like because I hadn't seen it in a long time, and that movie is so weirdly paced and so weirdly structured and so like that movie should have been 2 movies.
Yes, it's like 4 acts, 5 acts.
Yeah. You talking about Begins?
No,
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight. Okay.
2008 Dark Knight.
Yeah, it has like too many acts where like you expect it to be like because when I watch a movie, I always kind of even without thinking of it, you have like the opening and then like the body of the story and then the conclusion and like it's pretty simple. There's 3 acts. That movie has like extra acts that like it throws off the pacing so much. Like I watch it and it always gets anytime I've watched it in the past few years, it gets to the point where they have the showdown in the street and the truck flips over And in my brain, I'm always like, okay, we're like in the home stretch here. And there's so much movie after that. There's like a whole nother movie after that. That should
Yep.
be going into the end. And then they're like in Japan or China for like no reason. And then like the Joker's in jail and he's out of jail and he's back in jail. And then there's like the ferry scene. And I'm like, there's so much that still has to happen. And it feels like we should be done.
Oh, when he gets his face burned and they show Batman in like the pit of like rubble and stuff, and he picks
the
up
hospital scene is after that.
that should be
like,
the end of the movie. That should be it.
Yeah, like
that's
But
your
wait,
rising
there's more.
action into conclusion. You're done.
their showdown in the
Stop.
street feels like it should be like the big showdown that leads to the end. And like the hospitals after that, the race to the two buildings is after that.
The boat.
The boat is after that. The randomly rappelling down the building in Asia thing is after that. There's so much after that. It feels like a whole different like world away.
But that's the thing with Batman movies. Sometimes it's more about who the villain is more so than who the Batman
But it
is.
makes it because they do so much of that extra stuff and it's all in different places and different settings. It feels like a Mission Impossible movie to me after that. Like it just, I don't.
The Batman feels like one of the first Batman movies where you're genuinely interested in Bruce Wayne as much as any of the villain. Like I do care about Batman more than the villain in the Batman, and that's like the first time that's happened in forever.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Because a lot of those, especially the Christopher Nolan ones, it was more about the bad guy, like the Batman.
What everyone
Begins,
talk
like,
about with Dark Knight Rises, Bane.
Yep.
You know,
yeah, like I'm a big Tom Hardy fan, so
Me too.
I mean,
sure, yeah.
Tom Hardy, he always goes for it, even if it's not the right choice. He goes for a unique take on everything.
Did you ever see Bronson?
Oh yeah,
that's a buddy of mine who's passed now. I'm an electrician, and he got into like doing like film electrical stuff. But he got to meet Tom Hardy, and apparently he conversated with Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy said that was his favorite movie he's ever done.
Like his Venom is weird, but it's his, and he goes like I like that he reads the script and he's like, I'm gonna bring he brings something to the character. It doesn't always work, but I appreciate that he's trying something always. Like he never goes in and half-ass
Carnage. Because there was
my
favorite video coming, like growing. One of my favorite video games coming up was
Maximum Carnage.
Yes, Sega Genesis. Maximum
Red
Carnage.
cartridge. Yep.
Yes, and it just I was so excited for that movie, and just so felt
that is easily the worst superhero movie I've seen since Catwoman.
Oh,
that's in my opinion.
What about Fantastic Four with Michael B. Jordan?
I didn't watch it, thank goodness.
Okay,
yeah.
My 10-year-old son, I took him and I to see it. We left, and he's like, "Dad, that wasn't that good." I was like, "Right."
I mean, if we're talking Tom Hardy, for me, it starts and ends with Mad Max Fury Road. That is like one of the best action movies ever made. And it's the simplest plot of all time. It's we drive to one place and we drive back. That's the story, and the movie is incredible. And the practical effects are incredible, and the whole thing is incredible. That movie, like, it got a lot of hype when it came out. I think that movie is going to be the movie that, like, in a few years from now, you're going to hear a lot of filmmakers who make movies be like, you know what inspired me to make, like, action movies? Mad Max Fury Road.
I think they're doing I thought I heard they're doing a spin-off of that movie.
Oh, Furry-ous, right?
Furry-ous, yeah.
Yeah. She was the star of that movie anyway.
Yeah.
The movie was about her.
It took like 30 years to make just Fury Road, so it might be another 30 to get
Hey,
done.
I'm still waiting on Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Hey, that's coming.
Because the original Dune was like, I don't know if I call it a cult classic, but spices life.
Oh, it's very, the original Dune is very David Lynch.
Oh, it's so weird. It's so good, like, at the same time.
Yeah, I didn't think we would get here, but you're talking to somebody who loves Twin Peaks, so yeah, I love Dune as well. I just rewatched Twin Peaks. That was my last rewatch. Love David Lynch stuff. It's so weird.
All right.
Yep.
For real.
Remember that was the last thing you were going to say 15 minutes ago?
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm done too.
We be talking.
Yes.
All right, fellas. Well, once again, Stepdads, it is so good to have you guys on and conversate with you guys again. I am one half of the Dad Team Champions, representative of the Dad World Order podcast, Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. These guys, yeah, the shirt's right there. Look at
Representing.
that.
We'll be wearing them around. We'll probably
And
wear them
much-
to a show a couple times.
And much like the Netflix Tim Robinson show, not a sponsor, I think we should leave.
Well, again, I thank you guys for your time. You know, it's always a pleasure to conversate with you guys. I love seeing everything you guys put out there. You know, we're big fans. Anybody wants to hear it, we'll talk about you guys because you guys are definitely my favorite tag team. So
We appreciate it.
Yeah, seriously, thank you for the support. Seriously.
100. Yep. Same. I appreciate you guys, sharing our stuff because, again, we're not big, but, we love wrestling and we're having fun and it's for us
What it's all
first.
about.
All the dads got to stick together. Step
Yes.
or bio.
All right, guys. Until next time, Top Dads.
Are we on the next episode? Damn, shit.
No.
We're going to do this again. Like it or not.
Tomorrow.
We're doing this again.
Oh boy. Day 2.
Clear your schedule.
Yeah, it's WrestleMania. We're doing 2 days. It can't be contained on one day anymore.
We're almost there. We could probably do that. All right, guys. Until next time, Top Dads out.
Dad World Order.